Constantly shifting through the time-space continuum, Metron's three disciples observe the universe from the Mobius Couch.
I'd start a revolution if I could get up in the morning. I'd start a revolution if I could get up. If I could just get up. I'd start a revolution if I could get up off the Mobius Couch, a time-space interdimensional vehicle from which your three hosts oversee the world of comics, comic book movies, mainly toy comics. Actually, we've pretty much fallen into a niche of being the toy comic podcast. We talk about things like Transformers and Duke of the Energon universe. Which is our branding now. I think that's our branding now. But we're breaking the mold. And instead of toy comics, we're going to talk about Birds of Prey. Okay. No, that worked. I was trying to. I need to find some kind of way to signal me. Birds of Prey, apropos. All right. So our lyrical intro was, of course, Amy Allen's Revolution, the theme song to the 2002 WB series Birds of Prey. Which is what brought us in here. But we're talking about Birds of Prey, the comic book, 2023's Birds of Prey, part of the Dawn of DC. We're on the Dawn of DC now. We're not a New 52. It's the Dawn of DC. This is the series we're in. It's a new Dawn. And of course, this series mainlined by colorist Jordie Bellaire. And others are also involved creatively, but I just want to shout out the colors first. Yeah. And other people also contribute. Yeah. And so we're going to do issues 1 through 6, which are, if you're looking at YouTube, you can see this. It is now compiled into the trade paperback Volume 1, Megadeath. Megadeath, of course, a seminal 1980s metal group featuring ex-Metallica guitarist Dave Mustaine. Megadeath.
Huh. Everyone knows that.
Spelled differently. They didn't. It's not spelled Death. It's just Deth. But this comic is Death. Like it's Megadeath.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to get sued.
Yeah, not Megadeath.
This whole comic was written to that. The writer was listening to that soundtrack. Or that.
Actually,
album.
If you play Megadeth records backwards and read this, it doesn't affect the experience at all.
No, but it does say Harley Quinn over and over again, which I thought was interesting.
It is something you could do. But okay, let's bring us back. I think we've gotten off track with my bad jokes, but back on track. We're talking about 2023's Birds of Prey, Volume 1, Megadeath, of course, by Kelly Thompson.
Who are you and who are we, Al?
Kelly Thompson, the writer, and Leonardo Romero, the artist. Joining me on the Mobius Couch are myself, Alessandro, and, of course, Patrick.
Oh my gosh! Hi guys, how's everything going?
It's not going great.
Yeah.
For those listening, we're recording in March of 2025. Just if in the future that gives context, but things aren't great. Yeah, things aren't great.
Things are bad.
Yeah. And joining us.
Oh yeah.
And also Joe. And Joe's here.
Oh hey, I'm here too. Hey Al. Hey bye.
Hey, Joe.
I look at this podcast as a nice breath of fresh air, just an escape, if you will, from the tiresome bullshit of normal life.
Yeah, although, again, just copyright-wise, not to be confused with the Fresh Air podcast, which is the actual podcast for the APR program.
Not that. Not
this is a breath of fresh air.
Separate from that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get into this. A little bit of background before we start. So I mentioned the writer Kelly Thompson actually is a multiple Eisner Award winner. Our girl Kelly's got two Eisners. She wrote a Hawkeye series about Kate Bishop and Black Widow. She seemed to just write a lot of chick comics, a lot of like women. Women-led comics. She seems to do that.
She's writing Absolute Wonder Woman.
Oh, nice!
That's where I know that
one?
name.
Oh, nice. We should do that. Actually, we should do that.
It's pretty good.
We're going to. It just isn't the first story arc. Isn't even
she got her start in comics. She did smaller stuff, but her first big break was actually a Jen and the Holograms comic from IDW. That's how KT got on the map.
Did you guys like Jem and the Holograms? Did you ever watch
the comic or the show?
about them?
The show.
I'm vaguely aware that it was like an 80s thing that existed, but I didn't.
Yeah, that was pretty prominent for me.
I was more of a, not more of a, but like Josie and the Pussycats I knew more of.
There's
Yeah,
a show
weirdly,
that's
I did
older
as
than
well.
Gem.
Yeah, but it was on Cartoon Network.
But it was
a
on
lot.
Cartoon
That's
Network. All the
true.
old
That's
Hanna-Barbera stuff was there when we were kids, so I saw that.
Yeah, I guess some of those more obscure 80s stuff, Adult Swim, or like not Adult Swim, but Toonami, I guess. What else? What was the thing that replayed 80s stuff all the time? Like Toonami had Thundercats.
Boomerang. It was called Boomerang.
Boomerang? Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
But Boomerang wasn't cartoon. Wasn't that a
Yeah, that was a
Turner-
separate channel,
a
wasn't
separate
it? Or
Turner
separate
property.
thing?
It wasn't.
No, that's
None of this matters. Let's move on. None of this matters. None of this
she
matters.
went.
The point is, there
okay.
was a Gem and the Holograms was a great show.
Yeah.
I used to watch it because it was on in conjunction with a show called Brave Star, which was directly pointed at young male children, and then the third half hour of that hour would be Gem and the Holograms. But they always flipped it; they never knew which one was coming first.
Okay.
And so you just I just
They
ended
were a
up becoming a
band,
huge
right?
fan of Gem and the Holograms because I
They were
used
like
to watch that show all the time.
a synth rock band, right? Gem,
Yeah.
Gem and her holograms.
Yeah.
They were. Yeah.
But Gem was the
Pretty
only real
spectacular.
one. We don't have to talk about it.
Let's
Kelly
move on.
Thompson went
Let's
to
move on.
SCAD. She's a
Oh, did
SCAD
she?
girl.
Savannah,
Nice.
Georgia, little Georgia Peach. You got little
Georgia.
Georgia Peach there, KT.
Well, the SCAD has an Atlanta campus. We don't know.
No, we don't know. It could be Atlanta.
Whatever. SCAD is, I think, a pretty rapacious private university that has basically destroyed Savannah for the lower class. So we
Oh.
can move on.
Perfect.
Actually, I want to take that back. I know former employees of SCAD. Great place, great university, great environment, great place to learn, to be an artist.
Mhm.
The art is by Leonardo Romero. I couldn't find out anything about him. He has a website that's half in Portuguese, and that's all I know about.
Oh,
He
so he's
is
Brazilian.
He's the artist on the new Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I think, TV show. I think he designed the characters in that.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
All I know about this show is that the guy who voices Peter Parker made a big
is
stink
apparently
about. He was really concerned it was going to be too woke. And,
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Allegedly, he's a real
Can
big
people
piece of-
can celebrities just be quiet? Like, do we
Yeah,
have
just
to
shut
hear
up.
their
Just-
opinions?
They just shut the fuck up.
Just shut the fuck up.
Do your job.
Just
Shut up.
Do your
Just
job.
be Spider-Man and be happy. Like, just
Yeah.
shut the fuck up. Also, Friendly Neighborhood
yeah.
Spider-Man, great show. Had fun watching it.
Right. Well, it's
won't
great
watch
because
it.
it's not woke, you know.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not at all woke.
Unlike the.
Well, it's also
Spider-Verse
like
movie is
I think he
true.
was afraid it was too woke because is Harry Osborn black? Is that what he was like freaking
Harry
out
Osborn
about?
is black. That is correct. Yeah.
It's like okay.
All right, let's move on.
He's
just put
friends
this
with
to the- let's
Nico
move this
from
to the-
Nico Minoru. How do you say her
Okay,
name?
Minoru?
let's move this to the Gem of the Holograms drawer. Where we just stop talking about it and move on. Let's not talk about the woke casting. Of
We don't have time for tangents tonight.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey, of course, actually is a pretty modern property. It debuted in 1996. Original artist was, of course, Chuck Dixon, old Chucky D.
Oh, Chucky
Our old
D.
friend. But it's a pretty modern team up, honest. It doesn't go
Yeah,
back
it
to
is,
the
yeah.
70s or 80s like Teen Titans
it's
or
pretty-
some of
it's
the
pretty-
other stuff we've
pretty
talked about. It's
modern.
pretty new.
Wait, so
and-
was Gail Simone's run the first run on Brit?
I
No,
believe so.
she came after
Oh.
Chucky D, but she was right. Gail
Oh.
Simone had an iconic early.
She
run
had the
of hers
iconic
on
run,
Birds of Prey.
yeah.
Yeah. And that lineup was, of course, Black Canary, Babs Gordon, Huntress. I think they were the core trinity
Core three,
of that
yeah.
original
Three of them,
Birds of Prey run. And you know, there's been reboots throughout time, but now we're on this newest 2023.
I've never been a huge fan of the book. Have you guys? Have you guys been read any iterations?
I've never. This is the first Birds of Prey book I've read.
I read quite a bit.
So
of
I
it.
do this all the time. Like I'll read the first arc, and then I'll be like, "That sounds interesting." I want to, and then eventually I'll fall off because like I don't want to spend that much money on comics, and it's one of the ones that I just don't follow through with, or the story gets. I'm like, I'll figure out what's going on later, and then but I try to give it a chance every time. This one I liked. Patty.
Yes, I read quite a bit of Gail Simone's run.
Oh, okay.
So I was familiar with Sin. She's like the whole plot driving device in this book. But yeah, I was kind of obsessed with Black Canary from Justice League Unlimited, so I started getting Birds of Prey for a while. Yeah.
I don't like. So first of all, I mean, I love Black Canary's a babe. Love her as Actually, we could edit that out. I don't like her fishnets.
There's nothing
Not a
there's nothing
fan
wrong
of her
with calling someone a
fishnets.
babe. You
Yeah.
know, it's okay.
And a badass and like a good fight. I mean, she's awesome. Like a really good character.
Agreed.
I don't
always,
like her.
Always
fishnets.
liked her.
I would move away from the high boots and fishnets look if I was her.
It doesn't bother me.
It's like her iconic look, though. Yeah, I don't know.
I know, but I would just move on from that. I don't know.
They've
Just get
tried a couple
pant.
of times. It never looks right.
Just get a solid pant.
I think she had that. She had like a zip
I'm
up.
telling
that,
you,
like,
it just doesn't look
just
right.
doesn't.
I mean,
They've
they were
done it
able-
multiple times.
They were
There's
able
been
to
multiple
update
iterations of the Black Canary where they get rid of the fishnets, and it's not good.
But it can. I mean, they updated Bab's whole look with like the purple kind of more pant looking costume, and it worked. I feel
Yeah,
like
but
we
that's
could
already
do a
changed
good
back to
Black
like more of
Canary.
tights, gray tights and cape kind of scenario.
I just feel like we could make it work. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We don't. Why are we even talking about my feelings of Black Canary?
I mean, they definitely.
She's in the book.
I think I brought them up.
Also, Black Canary is I'm with Patty.
I love
League
her.
Unlimited. Just out of the park. She's amazing in that show.
Well, I also
made me like her even more than I already did.
The thing I like about her character is her voice is like a weapon of mass destruction. It's just like she screams and it destroys everything. So she always has to be very careful to use it. And I like that because like her character is kind of if you've read I promise I will land this plane, even though it sounds like a big deviation. If you've ever read Ursula K. Le Guin's The Earthsea books, it's this magical world. The main character Sparrowhawk is an incredibly powerful wizard. However, casting magic takes a giant toll on the user and the environment around them because it's such a powerful force. And so wizards, even super powerful ones like Ged, Sparrowhawk. Ged is his true name. Sparrowhawk is his name he uses in public.
That's his.
Yeah, because
Ged is his muggle name.
Because if you know his true name, then that gives you power over him and you can exercise your magic. Anyway, not to get into that. But the main thing I want to say is it sets up this world where using magic is a real cost and you have to be careful with it. Back to Black Canary. That's how she runs her life. She has this amazing power that could basically bust through.
Yeah, she's
stuff
very
willy-nilly,
soft-spoken and
but she's very careful,
emotionally restrained.
Yeah, but she's very careful not to use it. She sticks to non-violent or restrained violent means of hand-to-hand combat and really only bursts out her voice when she needs to. And I think that's a cool character trait of her. She's super like tactical and responsible in using her power. Whereas, you could write that character to be less, just jump in and scream, the warehouse of baddies explodes and you're done. But she's way more tactical and cool about it. And I really like that about her. And that goes back not just in this run, but for her whole character arc. Okay.
Well, about this run.
Yeah.
What's your overall takes?
Oh, I'll be brief. I loved it. This was so much fun. I loved it.
Okay.
My one complaint.
I also will be brief, but go on.
Yeah, my one complaint is at the end they really lean into the time travel aspect, and that made me not want to read a single issue after this. But this 6-issue run was amazing. It was so much fun, and I loved it. We can get to specifics later, but it was great.
I really enjoyed it. The art's super
Plot was
fun.
good.
It's very David Aja, Cliff Chiang-esque, which I enjoy. Which apparently, knowing what he's done since this, again. Great job. Writing's a lot of clever dialogue, but not too much. I feel like for the most part, there's one issue where I'm like, dial it down. but for the most part, it's like this is really fun, clever dialogue. All the characters feel fleshed out and real. It doesn't feel like forced or anything. And then plot wise, pretty good, pretty fun. There's a lot of MacGuffins, but that's okay. But it's comic books.
Yeah, but I like that they set up kind of a standard. Is just get the team together for a heist kind of thing. So there are some MacGuffins and some kind of trite plot devices.
Overall, I really enjoyed the 6 issues. I agree, and we can talk about the time travel stuff at the end there. But yeah,
I do. Well, Pat, go first, and then I wanted to mention one thing.
I love this book. I feel like it was made just for me. This lineup is incredible. Like, I'm obsessed with Black Canary.
The team lineup is
great. The team construct. There is no weak link in this team.
Not a single
all
one.
heavy hitter badasses. They're all.
Badass,
Barda, Zealot, of course, Cascade, like the greatest. Cassandra Cain, the greatest.
Yeah.
Black Canary, hardly. Every one of them could mainline their own comic.
Yes, they all have as well.
There's no B-level loser just throwing on this team.
Yeah, it's so Cassandra Cain, easily my favorite Bat Family member. Big Barda, I've had a soft spot for.
Harley describes the lineup as it's weird, but it's A-list weird, and that's I think it's like, and it's their own writer describing the lineup in a way, but like it's perfect. It's like spot on, perfect.
And I just I love the art is great. I do think the colorist is also great. I love everything about the art, the dialogue, the relationship between Barda and Cassandra Cain is like one of my favorite in all of comics from this.
It's incredible. Little Bat.
Just
little Bat.
Little Bat.
B.
Small Bat.
Small Bat.
What do you think about that Small Bat?
Oh man. But yeah, no, this was fantastic. I've read like several issues past this, and it does, the storyline does kind of jump the shark a little bit.
Okay,
but it's still
jump the king shark or what?
Hey-o! That's reference for the future.
We're gonna get to King Shark in a minute. No,
yeah, so good, so good. The chemistry, the dialogue, each character's, just repeating what y'all said, fleshed out, fantastic.
Agreed.
Yeah. So one comment I wanted to make to the art. So I do think, Romero did a good job. I want to start by saying he did a good job. I think maybe it's just the comics we've been reading lately, but as soon as I opened the first page, and I know you mentioned already Aha and Cliff Shang, but also we just did what was his name? Tom Riley, the Duke artist. As soon as I opened it, it was like another 70s Hanna-Barbera looking throwback style. Part of me kind of said, oh.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I was feeling that a little bit, but it went away pretty quickly though. Like I did kind of go, man, we're getting a lot of this kind of art recently, which is fine.
Yeah,
but I feel like that's kind of indicative of where comics are right now. I mean, like I think that style has become.
Well, that's what I mean. I didn't want to say because I don't know if it is
kind of
indicative of contemporary comic aesthetics or it's more of just the sample we've picked recently leans that way. But I do want to admit sort of my initial gut reaction was like, oh, another 70s like Hanna-Barbera / Euro style throwback art aesthetic. Okay, here we go. But I don't want to minimize that Romero did a great job.
Some of the panels of Black Canary could literally be like, the paintings up in the men and just have the
they're pop art. They're like 60s pop art.
It's kind of like Herculoids and those Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Yes, right.
I did think the art style lent itself to the comical beats pretty well, though. Like
there's some good use of this art in a way that's unconventional as well. Like when they go through the seam or go to the seam, they go through the fold in the wall and then everything turns like their bodies are x-rayed or, stuff like that. Like there's interesting panel usage layouts that I really like. I'll point a few of them out as we go, but issue 1, you guys want to talk about issue 1?
Yeah. And again, I didn't mean it as the criticism of this comics art in a vacuum. I just meant it more in terms of everything we've read, my reaction. Right, I do want to say Jordie Bellaire's color work is great throughout this run.
Agreed,
yeah. I've Googled it several times and I cannot remember. It's with the small dots, Ben-Day dots. It reminded me of Ben-Day dots art style.
Well, that's also very 60s pop art.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's talk issue 1.
There's also kind of a paper texture like over the color, and I really like that. There's like a subtle texture to everything.
The colors have a shading. It almost feels like you're reading an old comic, like
an old comic. There's even one of the issue 4, I think, has like an old, like Wonder Woman shows up, and the cover of issue 4 is like Wonder Woman in the foreground, and they're all in the background or midground, but like it's weathered in age, like it's an old comic. And I'm just that's random that they just randomly did that for that issue. Maybe it's because Wonder Woman showed up, or like maybe it's the style of the cover that they were going for, but like that they were just like, hey, this really lends itself to that. But it was just random. But it was just, I think something is purposeful behind this looking like an older comic.
No, definitely. I mean, it feels like those kind of thinner, like recycled paper early
You know, I
90s
kind of
TPBs
like
we'd get of older
with
comic
some of
Yeah.
the modern comic art, it can be very frenetic and just be like all over the place and almost like a Michael Bay movie or like what the fuck am I looking at kind of sometimes. Like there's a few like Batman and Robin issues recently where like the guy was just like all over the place with the art. The art's already changed now that it's all in or whatever. Now the more recent issues, but like and the newer artists I really enjoy, but like the guy before that, I mean, he was good, but it was just like, man, it was insane. Like I was just like, I'd be like, what's happening? Oh, okay, oh, that's the Batmobile, but also 1,000 things are flying up behind it while Robin's jumping out of it while this is happening. You know, like, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, there's a shitload going on in this image. So it's kind of refreshing, although Alice just saying I was getting bored of it. Kind of refreshing just to see Cassandra just fighting a bunch of very easily discernible ninjas on a rooftop. You know what I mean? Like it's I don't know.
Yeah. All
Anyway.
right. So let's go. Issue 1. I wanted to start. One comment I wrote. I love how Ollie, the first panel is just Ollie is in the most useless pose he could. He's just like, he's just nothing. He's just lying back. I just
Clearly,
remember
they
reading
just
that.
got-
Like, he's such a useless
You know,
dude.
they
He's
just got done a hard day's work being superheroes, and he's just relaxing in his PJ pants. You know, it's fine.
He's just
PJ
so useless.
He's wearing his plaid PJs. No shirt, of course.
And this is, again, back to that Hanna-Barbera 60s pop art look. Look at, I mean, Dinah here. It's just very...
Yeah, that's kind of what, that's
that
exactly what I was thinking of when I said that, by the way.
And sorry, podcast listeners won't see
So
what we're talking
Dina's getting the team together, and really, she's got a list of candidates, and she's talking to Ollie about it, and she can't really explain to Ollie even what's
Hold on, is
going
it Dina
on.
or Dinah?
I think it's Dinah. It's Dinah. I say
Yeah.
Dina all the time. I say Dina all the
prefer.
It's Dinah, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
Dina.
it wrong nonstop. I'll try to say Dinah. It is Dinah.
I prefer
at any
Dina
rate.
over Dina, yeah.
Or is
I
it,
just
what was
love
it
the
in
line
Arrow?
of like,
Laurel, Dinah.
I can't
Lee?
bring Babs. I can't do this. And then Oliver is just like, well, other than Barbara, who's the most dangerous person you know that you are also 100% certain you can trust? And it just the next page is just Cassandra just kicking ass on a rooftop, and I'm just like, yay! I mean, it's not like I don't know she's going to be in the team, but like, man, it's the best. It's the best introduction to that character. They do such a good job of. On Cassandra specifically, they do such a good job of like showing how awesome she is without like smashing you over the head with it, like throughout the book. That it's just like she has these very quiet, subtle moments where she's just being a badass, even if it's just taking a hit.
She's
but then she gets up
is
again,
the
and you're like,
best.
holy shit, you're still up! Like that's crazy. Wonder Woman just punched you, you know, that kind of thing. And like, man, there's so many good little beats with her.
I mean, we get to it later, and everyone's jailed, and she's just out.
Yes!
Of the cell
Yeah.
already.
Best
She's
part.
just hanging
Best
out.
part of the entire
She's
comic.
incredible. She's incredible.
And Canary's like, were you even ever in here? And she goes, no.
Nope.
And it's
no.
that's it.
She, immediately, she's the best.
Just, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's the keys. Yeah. So anyway, Cassandra. So Black Canary goes to recruit Cassie. That's weird. I don't call her. Is it weird?
I think she goes.
I don't know
Well,
why
I
that
call
came
her
out.
Cass.
I call
Well,
her.
she goes
Cassie.
by Cass. She goes by Cass.
Yeah, but Cassie
'Cause
is like Wonder Girl to me.
I don't
Cassie's
think she
one-
goes
It's
by
weird.
Cassie.
Why was Connor and Cassandra like such a common name in this era of character
Oh,
creation?
that's a good point.
Did you notice that?
Just now. I did.
Anyway,
Now that you said it out loud.
Yeah, because we
I-
had Superboy Connor Hawk.
Connor Hawk,
Connor.
yeah. And there's all around the 90s, all around that time.
Cassandra,
Like
yeah, I guess
Cassandra.
it's
What's the name of
just,
Cassandra? You mean like anyway, Cassie Sandsmark. You mean Cassandra? All right.
I do love the interaction with Black Canary because she's like, "How am I going to convince Cassandra to join me on this mission?" And Cass is just
she just
like,
joins.
"Oh,
She's just,
she's like,
it's the best.
and then if you don't know about Cass, she can read body language like as well as like I guess better than someone speaking spoken word. So she immediately. Dinah then has the weird request where it's like you can't tell Barbara about it. You can't tell the original Batgirl. And there's like a slight pause, and then Cass just goes, "Okay." And it's like I feel like she's like reading like her body language, knowing that there's a good reason why, and she just doesn't question it. She's like, "I'm down. Let's do it. What's next?"
Yeah, and for listeners,
Canary just speaking honestly and saying like, "I don't see another way to save her," meaning Sin, like her sister. In quotations, but like just her saying that out loud, and then she's just like, okay, and she's like, really, just like that? She's like, of course. What's more important than a sister? And I was just like, I love that. I mean, even the fact that like she has to leave Barbara behind and not include Barbara, and doesn't even know why she's not including Barbara. She's still like, well, I get it. let's go.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
yeah, Patty, I think a lot of that is to your point of like her ability to read body language is just in there. Like it's not like unless you know the character, you don't really. You might just go, oh, that's really cool. She just signed on without question.
Right.
Maybe
yeah.
she trusts Black Canary that much or whatever. But like if you read between the lines, there's more there, and I really enjoyed that. Anyway, Al, what were you going to say?
And well, just for listeners who maybe don't know Cass's background, so she's the daughter of was her dad a League of Assassins assassin? But anyway, some kind of assassin. But
He was
she
an
grew up
assassin. I don't know if he was League
basically,
of Assassins.
yeah, but she grew up basically mute. Like he
Yeah.
trained her to read body language to be a better assassin. And
Yeah.
deprive her of like social connections.
He didn't
and
teach her
feelings
to
and stuff. It
speak
was-
or to talk, so he only
Yeah.
trained her through fighting and like body language.
right.
There's
so
a
that's why
really-
she's so in tune with
There's
it.
a
Yeah.
really great Robin Batgirl crossover event from like the early 2000s.
Tim Drake,
And
Robin.
Tim Drake Robin. And at the
best
end,
Robin.
Cass, she has to pretend like she's dead and she gets shot in the chest. And she has Kevlar on, but she gets shot in the chest and she doesn't move. And then later, Tim is like, how did you not like react when that bullet hit your chest? And it's a flash. Cass goes, have you ever heard of the kids game 2 for flinching? Like if you slap someone, then you get to so and then
Yeah.
she's like, yeah. And then it cuts to her as a little girl, and David Kane, her dad, shoots like a bullet through her leg, and she
Mhm.
doesn't. She like her like 10-year-old self just doesn't flinch, because if she did flinch, he'd shoot her again.
He'd
I
shoot her
guess.
again. Yeah.
Like she was just like basically tortured by this.
She
man
was
for
tortured. Yeah, she was tortured.
years.
I mean, her original run on her own comic was basically her dealing with all of that, like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all of that, and unpacking it, and all the trauma and everything she had to deal with, and slowly learning how to speak and have language. You know, like just everything. Man, that was a good book. By the way, her current book, DC All In, she has her own book again. Pretty good so far. I don't know how far it's only 4 issues in. I don't know how far I'm going to go, but
Is it part
Oh,
of the
it's over.
dawn of DC?
no, Dawn of DC is over, bud. We're
It's
an all
already
in
over.
now.
Oh my god!
We're all in DC now.
All right. So next, because again, this is we're getting a team together for a heist. So of course,
Yeah, we're getting the gang
trope of the
together.
heist is we're just going one by one, getting these recruits.
Yeah, so
Next is
Canary's
the-
like, I'm busy. Can you get the next one while I get the next one? And Cass is
Right.
like, cool. So she goes to get Big Barda.
Big Barda, Queen, our muscle mommy queen of the muscle mommies, our number one. Big
She's
Barda.
so good. She is so good in this book. She's so good.
She's the
Why
best.
is her dialogue
the
seems
best.
stilted to you though? Like, why are they like? It's almost like a vaguely Russian, like the way she speaks.
Yeah,
like,
well,
kind of
yes,
Thor-esque,
that's how
I
read
guess.
it.
They're trying to do that a little bit,
Kind of.
maybe. But
Well, I
she
think they're
doesn't talk
leaning
like
into
that in
the
other
new
books.
god. I think they're leaning into the kind of the new god alien.
Yeah, like
aspect of her
like
more.
the more the Thor thing than a Russian.
Yeah, I
But,
know we
like
did-
you know.
For listeners, our original first episode on Mr. Miracle, you know, that's more of a human take on Barda
Yeah, for
and
sure,
Scott. This is, I think,
Like
they're
Scott and
leaning
Barda
into
are just
the-
talking like full on dialogue, and this
Yeah.
is just like she's flipping words back. You know, like I can't think of anything specific, but like even just her calling her small bat, little bat, like that's kind of like you're like, and you just say Batgirl. All right, whatever.
Yeah, but I think they're just leaning more into the kind of new god.
I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. It's just one of those things where I was like, that seemed a little.
It is a different.
It was
character.
weird reading Barda like that at first. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I got past it very quickly.
I don't know what this is going to sound creepy, but you in that package you can put whatever character you want in there. I will buy it. She is
That
my
doesn't sound
goddess.
creepy.
She is my new goddess, Big Barda. But so they recruit her, and she and Batgirl have good back and forth. They fight some vampires, but Barda joins as well.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't really. Again, Barda doesn't need much convincing when you're like, "Hey, we have a good cause. We're trying to save somebody." She's like, "Okay," like
Well, I guess
nobody
that
really
is very
only
much on her
Zealot.
character.
I mean, only Zealot really took some. I mean, the convincing was you owe me this thing, and so she has to do it. But she's
Well, then
really
they
the only
all
one
need
that-
convincing for Harley to join, though. Zealot,
Well,
Zealot joins immediately, but because she owes Black Canary
owes
for
her-
something
Right.
that I don't
Yeah.
know. There's something.
Well,
in
that's
the
what I
past.
I couldn't figure out if a lot of it was just made up for the book or if there was stuff in.
It
'cause
might have been.
Wildcats
It's
got folded in during.
Yeah, I don't. So
I don't know anything
Wildstorm
about-
being like folded into the DC universe has never quite gelled with me. They've tried.
Yeah, I didn't
to
understand.
some success to jam those characters in with the rest of DC. And for the most part, I feel like it doesn't really work all that well, or I just don't enjoy them in the normal superhero scenarios. But like for some reason in this Zealot, like I mean, you could have taken Zealot out and put what's her name, the actual with the death sword. What's her name? Katana.
Oh, Katana.
Yeah, you could have just put Katana in, and I wouldn't have noticed. Like it would have,
but Katana
changed
maybe
the book almost at all.
Yeah, but maybe
like,
because I mean, not that maybe this doesn't make sense because Harley Quinn's in it, but Katana's in a bunch of Suicide properties recently. So
yeah,
maybe they
yeah,
didn't want to
probably.
bring
I
her
mean, like
in
there's
for
probably
that.
a reason. I mean, honestly, I don't mind that it's Zealot. I prefer it honestly because Katana.
She was amazing.
I've
I
never really
loved
found
Zealot.
Katana all that interesting, honestly.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, and I loved Zealot in this. She was great.
yeah,
And
I do like the
Grifter who she's shacking
whistling,
up
and then
with?
she whistles back, and
Yeah.
Grifter's like, "Are you leaving me for a bird?" And she's like, "Kind of."
I like how he's
She's
like,
"I gotta
when are
go."
you gonna? I like how he goes, when are you gonna be back? And she just goes, unclear.
Unclear.
She leaves.
I do like how both. I mean, one thing that was kind of weird to me is when I first read this and I saw Zealot, she's with another like useless blonde man, like Ollie. I was kind of like, wait, is this Canary and Ollie? What's going on here? But they have kind of
It's
a
a
similar
girl book.
relationship.
They're leaving all
of-
the dudes
Yeah.
behind.
As they should, yeah. But I just mean it's a similar relationship where they have these like blonde, useless dudes in bed, and they go off to achieve things.
Did y'all notice that during the fight with Barda and Batgirl versus the vampires, Cass uses the chandelier to kick one of them, and Barda says, "The chandelier, a classic small bat. I love it."
Yeah.
And it made me think of Batman Forever and Dark Victory with Dick on the chandelier. Classic
Oh
little Easter egg there.
yeah.
I love Barda's dialogue. You had no chance against me before, villains. Now with a little bat, I think you will suffer quite tremendously.
Quite tremendously.
No, she has all of her lines are all of her.
Yeah,
lines.
she's pretty great.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we
Anyway,
get
Zealot
Zealot.
joins,
We get
and then there's a line where Canary just says, "We need a fifth," and it just reminded me of Ocean's 11, where him and Brad Pitt, George Clooney and Brad Pitt are sitting at the bar, and he's like, "You think we need one more? You think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more." You know, kind of thing. And I was like, that's kind of a hilarious. Let's start a heist line of dialogue, I think.
Well, as an art note, one panel I loved is so Cass, Smallbat, is the one who recommends Harley Quinn. And so the next panel is a close-up of Dinah's face, who says absolutely not, but you can see her kind of smile.
Smiling.
as
Yeah,
she
she's
says
like,
that. And
"Nice
I love that
suggestion."
little choice there of
And
because it's
I
not
like
like
when
a,
she goes,
yeah.
"Can I tell you a story?" And she goes, "You may." And then she tells the whole story, and it's basically a story highlighting how like unpredictable Harley can be. So even for her, it was hard to fight her, basically. So it's this
Right.
long. It's like a few pages long. It's like 3 or 4 pages, and at the end of it, they're like, "Yeah, that doesn't help at all. Like I don't think that." And then basically, Barda goes, "Do not feel bad, small bat. Stories are not your strength. You have many other strengths."
Well,
Such
before
as
that-
putting men in comas and being very quiet.
Before that,
One of the best things I've ever heard.
it was the best. It was like one of my
Stories
favorite scenes in
about
the
your
entire 6 issues. Because after Cass gets done with the story, Barda goes, "Small bat, that was hardly a story. You barely spoke."
Yeah, and Zealot's like, "You should not tell stories." That's so
This is
good.
not your strength.
Anyway,
But
so they
it's
do
enough
go
to
get
convince the
Harley.
birds of prey to go get. And I know earlier I made all those comments about Dinah, and first thing she does in this fight is use her powers. She just lands immediately, and
Well, it's to
and
shut down a
screams.
group of fighters, though.
I know,
I
but
do
I
think
just
it's funny that she's like, well, they're trying to. Time is of the essence, Al. They got to get this shit done.
I know, but I just mean all that hullabaloo earlier I said about her being tactical and restrained, and then it's just she just lands and uses her voice, but it is fine.
I do just love the Harley. Fuck no. Okay, fine. Kind of like mentality. Anyway, a random future girl comes in. What?
She's fun. She's funny. I had to Google her. She's in something called Gotham Academy, I think. She was in like
Oh,
some
yeah.
side bat book. So
I
this
read
was
like 2
a
issues of that,
deep
and I was
cut.
like, and I don't have.
Is that the thing that My Chemical Romance? No, that's Umbrella Academy. Is the My
Yeah,
Chemical
that's-
Romance?
I think Gotham Academy was just like regular kids in Gotham that go to school, but also deal with all the insane shit that's happening in Gotham. And I think
Yeah.
she was like Robin for one night or something like that. She wanted to
That was
be Robin
during that like
so-
Robin War stuff. If I'm not mistaken.
Probably, yeah.
Around that time period.
So,
I
but I
wasn't
think this
really
was
reading a lot back then.
This was a deep cut, I think, for Batman fans of who she was. I think that's why they had to kind of like introduce her by all three of her different names. I also liked how she gave them all three different names, and they still referred to her as Dirt Girl for the rest of the
yeah, for the most part.
She's like, I'm Meridian Map / whatever, and they're just like, get the Dirt Girl.
The Dirt Girl.
I love. I mean, like when she first shows up and she's like, "I'm here to help you get on Themyscira," and Harley just goes, "No fucking way!" Like in the head, so, like just the best. I mean, I sometimes I can find Harley or like that kind of character like kind of fucking annoying, but I think she's very well written.
No,
like,
yeah, she's
over the top. It's not.
Well, I think she works.
Most of her lines are pretty fucking clever, and they're not like super annoying.
But here's the key too. As a supporting character, she works great.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they make her the lead of, movies or comics, that's where it gets a little bit. I mean, the shtick has to really hold up, and that gets tricky. Mm-hmm. But as the number 2 or 3 on the team, great. It's great.
Like on that note, great, like the meta commentary of her being like, she tells a joke and then like no one laughs, and she's like, no one laughed at that? Okay. And then she does something else and she's like, oh, that didn't land either. And she's like, fuck, I'm gonna have to like re-examine. She goes, this will require a slight reworking of my vibe. Like,
well, I also like her constant.
I kind of enjoyed that.
She makes a bunch of movie references too, which is pretty funny. She always does these like movie references that don't land, and that's kind of
Well, they also kind of pair up Barda and Batgirl, but then Zealot and Harley are kind of paired up, and they're similar in some ways, but they're also polar opposites. And I thought their dynamic worked really well. Like at the end of this issue, Harley says, "Like I can't really get into it unless there's a threat of danger." And then Zealot just goes, I think I agree. The question.
Zealot's constantly finding herself being like, do I like
she keeps agreeing with Harley.
Yeah. I can't understand. Do I agree with you? Anyway, issue 2. That's basically issue 1, right?
Yeah. Also, to that Zealot Harley point, as Harley's sitting on the bench, she's got her arm over Zealot's shoulder, and she just different versions of
that's what I'm saying. Like even her
if you look at these panels, it's different levels of
it's like fucking with them. And Zealot's like on the edge of her seat, like slowly moving away. It's pretty fun.
All right, issue 2. Let's go for it.
Yeah, quick flashback with Sin, and it's just like, hey, I love you, kid. And she's like, you're the best older sister. And that's kind of basic. That's the Sin flashback.
And I guess I don't know. Sin was like...
I've got a lot of questions. Yeah. Go ahead, Pat. But yeah, I've got.
Well, I was just gonna say, I don't know what New 52 and beyond Sin was, but like pre New 52, she was a little girl that Dinah found on a Birds of Prey mission that was being trained by the League of Assassins to essentially replace Lady Shiva. So I don't know if there's something special about Sin or if she's just very good at fighting from a young age or what. Yeah. But Dinah saved her from the League of Assassins, and then I'm not exactly sure why she's on Themyscira. At first, I thought it was because she was being protected by them, but then it kind of sounded like there was a different reason why she was there. But
I have a lot of
absolutely zero answers for that.
Yeah. Forget Themyscira. Why was she in Bhutan years ago? Bhutan was closed to tourists until like 15 years ago.
I think
so
she
how
was
she even in Bhutan?
I think they had her hiding out with monks or something like that. I think she was in hiding from the League.
And then the other comment on the League, 80% of the DC universe is a child girl that the League was training to be an assassin. I feel like Cascade,
they train people to be assassins.
How many assassins do they need? How many do they need? How many is too many?
And then all the good ones get broken off and turned into superheroes.
Yeah, every other superhero is an ex-League of Assassin orphan trainee who's now one is literally named Orphan, I think. But like
that's Cass. That's Cass. I mean,
but that's what I just mean like half the DC universe is ex-League of Assassins. They're just flunked out orphan trainees of the League of Assassins.
Seems a lot.
It's a lot. It's more than one. And I feel like that's a lot of
the League of Assassins and the League of Shadows are two different things, first of all. So we're talking about like Damien's not a League of Assassins.
I didn't know that at all. They're the same thing.
Wait, they're different. Doesn't the League of Shadows use the League of... They're connected, right? They're not connected?
They're connected like Money and Cord and Shatter, and they go back to each other very simply.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's put this in the Gem of the Holograms drawer and move on.
Yeah, so
Issue
anyway, Dust Girl is like, gotta go, and she leaves, and then she's like, meet us at the docks, and she's like, I won't see you until Themyscira, you stupid bitch, and then like that's it, kind of thing. Basically,
so issue 2, I gotta say,
Yeah.
I loved issue 2 because again, it's the standard
It's
heist
the let's go
movie
get
kind
some
of
MacGuffins.
pre-heist prep where
Yeah.
everyone has their own task and they go do it. I loved it, and Constantine being in there and going to Diagon Alley or whatever that was. You know, that's Harry Potter.
Diagonally.
Whatever that is.
Well,
I
there
don't
is a
wanna
bit
mention-
where
yeah.
Zealot almost quits because they find out it's Themyscira and like they get debriefed basically, so they know the mission now.
Yeah.
And Zealot's like, "Fuck you! I said I would never do this. I'm never like I know I owe you, but I refuse to kill Amazons," kind of thing. And Canary's like, "We're not killing Amazons." And she's like, "You have 2 minutes." I just let the conversation. She's like, "Will you at least come back inside so I don't have to say this twice?" You know, kind of thing. So
Did
they
any of
basically,
us
yeah.
Wikipedia why Zealot particularly cares about Amazon?
No idea. Again,
No.
when Wildstorm got folded into all this stuff, like I really don't. Pay
So
attention
I do know
to
that
be honest.
Zealot is like 1,000 years old. So I guess she's
Probably more.
got
more.
yeah, maybe more than 1,000 years old. So
Yeah.
she's got a history with the Amazons, obviously.
Yeah.
She's banned from Themyscira, but
So
they don't
maybe
really dive
something
into.
happened. Also, is she Japanese, or why does she have a rising sun?
Not
wartime
well.
Japan
Maybe it
flag
goes
on her
back
face?
because I think she's been on
I've-
Earth for thousands of years.
I think
so maybe
she's just been all over. Yeah. And then again, that was also like holdovers from in the 90s where they would make white characters and make them all cool with like
With Japanese image. I mean, she's
Yeah.
got sort of, I don't know how to. It's almost a Japanese wartime rising sun flag, but like Time Sesshomaru's face
Yeah.
claw marks. I don't know how to describe. It's very Japanese
yeah.
coded, but
Well, I mean, they
Well, I
updated her
mean-
costume from the 90s, and I think that was kind of the one key detail they held on to.
They
'Cause
left
her costumes in the 90s was just pure tits and ass, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Jim Lee at his finest. Yeah.
yeah.
he was all about tits and ass.
Also,
no
I love when
but a lot of
All
tits and
90s
ass
comics
was
were
Jim Lee.
yeah. I
But
do
tell you
love.
what, do you
so-
remember Bloodshot? Bloodshot's another one that had
Yeah.
like a red circle kind of Japan. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it was just
Yeah.
big in the
Vin
And you
Diesel.
know who Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. It's all about family. Yeah.
Do you guys
I did-
think? Do you guys think in Fast and Furious 30 that it'll be called Fast and Furious XXX, and then Vin Diesel will play both Triple X?
Oh
and
my God! What a great
In
idea!
the same movie.
I do a triple X
But
Fast and
then
Furious
by Fast and
crossover
Furious
would
30,
be
do you think it'll be
amazing.
insane enough to just mold those worlds together and he plays both characters and it'll be like a
I don't know if you
honestly,
all remember,
yes.
but
my
Jean-Claude
Parent
Van
Trap
Damme.
situation?
Well, Jean-Claude Van Damme was in a movie called Double Impact where he played 2 characters. So why can't Vin Diesel play both
that's what I'm
Triple
saying.
X
And by the
Jean-Claude
time we
Van
get
Damme?
to
Why not?
Fast and Furious XXX, don't you think it's going to be like, let's just do whatever, you know?
I think they should do it.
Anyway, they all have things to find, so they all kind of go
What?
their separate ways to find
I-
those things. But they all end
I
up in
did
the
like-
same place, which I thought was kind of funny.
This
I
one
did
was this issue was peak, to Joe's earlier point. This was peak MacGuffin issue
Oh, yeah.
though, where everybody had to go get a MacGuffin item that like you didn't really have a context of why they were even getting things, but
Mm-hmm.
they went to do
Before-
it. So go ahead.
Before
Pat,
we
you
get
were
to
saying.
I just with the Zealot with not killing Amazons, I
Yeah.
did like Dinah being like, "We're not killing Amazons," and then she goes, "Well, I mean, the plan is not to kill any Amazons."
The plan is
Like,
not to kill Amazons.
We might.
not
I
to
don't
kill
know.
some Amazons. I mean, personally, I'm not going to kill Amazons. You use swords, so I can't. I mean,
Right,
I can't
yeah.
guarantee.
But Dinah even says, she's like, well, how likely is it we end up not killing Amazons? And Dinah's like, well, it might happen.
Yeah.
She's
So
like,
they
"Yeah,
have to
could-
figure
could."
out a way onto the island, and then Harley's like, "I'll be your Huckleberry," which is a classic Val Kilmer line from Heat.
Yes. No, it's
with
from
the
Tombstone.
with the
Tombstone.
with the amazing theme song "Kiss from a Rose." Right?
All right. I think we're conflating our Val Kilmer movies.
Oh, they're all the same.
Yeah.
I love Barda
Right.
when Meridian teleports. When she teleports, she turns into dirt, I guess, and floats away.
Yeah.
So she does that, and Barda goes, "The one from the future was made of dirt? Interesting."
No, she says intriguing. Intriguing.
Intriguing.
And then she goes, "What did she say?" And Canary's like, "Good luck, sorta." I don't know. Yeah. At any rate, so Quinn goes off to find her way on. She has the way onto the island, so that's her, job that she's doing. Zealot has to find something that we don't know about, which again later on turns out
we find out
just so
later.
I can murder indefinitely.
Yeah.
And then when Canary goes to to get John Constantine's help, I just love how he's like, "Fucking goddamn it!" But which is kind of always the case.
But
when they teleport,
think
she goes, "Did you just teleport us from one bar to another bar?" I was like, that's fantastic. He's like, "Let's go," and he like opens up a little portal, and they jump through, and she's like, "Did we just teleport from one bar to another?" Fucking great.
I did want to say I think it's a great Constantine cameo. Like I just think it's a great use of the character and that world, bring in a little bit of the supernatural.
Again,
and it's not overused.
Yeah, and just again, whether it's implied or there's actually something that he owes her for from another comic, I don't know. But like, I just love the use of like history with the characters instead of just going like, John Constantine, I'm Black Canary for like the 50 millionth time. You know what I mean? Like they just kind of cut through all that shit. And like whether there's actually something that they had to like together in the past in a past comic book, I don't even know. But like it's implied, and then they know each other, and then like this, and they just move on past that. That part of the writing was either clever or very good at historical like callbacks. Either way. Anyway. Zealot
great.
Hangs out with Harley. They all end up in the seam, which apparently is some weird
It's
in between
diagonally.
They fight some lemon juggernauts.
They're golems.
Just to get a bag of tricks. Yeah,
they're golems.
And by the way, the bag of tricks pretty useless. Kind of a
What the fuck was that even?
Weird favor.
Was that for Ollie to?
Yeah.
It was for Ollie later when he gets to
Ollie's
Wonder
bag
Woman.
of trick arrows. Yeah, and I was like, these are useless. Granted, he's fighting Wonder Woman, so like I get it, but like, what the fuck?
I will say, Zealot's pickup is actually very helpful.
Oh well, yeah, that one was the main
Zealot's diagonally.
Well, also the urn. The urn was also pretty integral.
Yeah, and the urn.
Yeah.
That was.
I did like Bard. Another fun Bar to cast thing because they're the ones that go to get the urn, and Bard is like, a guy here called Nelson. Nelson was very amenable to handing it over for a good cause. And Donna says, I'm afraid to ask if Greg and this Nelson person are still alive. And then Bard goes, they are. And then Donna goes, Cass. And then Cass just goes, kind of. They're paralyzed, basically, but they're still breathing, I guess.
Yeah, they're alive.
All right, and then they meet up. So we find out Harley's infiltration plan is Nanoe, the Shark King, who can control Megalodons, and the Megalodons. And the plan is to get inside a Megalodon. And I just want to take a moment.
Which I thought was weird that Jason Statham wasn't there.
Well, maybe he was on their heels, but I want to take a moment of silence to recognize the perfection that is Barda in a bathing suit.
That's her classic, not superhero garb, from the old Mr. Miracle comics.
You've
never seen her in that before? She sports that red bra and bathing suit thing all the time.
She looks great. No notes. She is on the Snyder. I honestly.
Oh yeah.
I would put her beyond the Snyder's scale.
That giant bit?
She is in a different atmosphere, my friends.
Yeah, agreed.
Nanoe also looks great. I mean, he looks good too.
Yeah, he's pretty big. He's a pretty big shark man.
Yeah, he's a big old shark.
He's Nanoe, the shark-faced boy. You like that guy? I like when he jumps on board, and I love all the the comedic pauses for them to all just stare at something, and then one of them just goes, "No fucking way." Just like I just love that little I don't know, just they're all staring at it. Barda's kind of smirking, and Canary's like, what the fuck? Okay. Like that's how we're getting on there.
I like how every one of them's bathing suit is costume appropriate.
Right, yeah.
Like Harley has a little Harley Quinn diving suit, Black Canary's all in black, and Batgirl has her Batgirl diving. I mean, I just like how they all have kind of like a costume synced bathing suit.
Yeah.
All right.
Suit?
Issue 3, Scuba, yeah.
Issue 3, I love the cover. I love the cover of issue 3.
I mean, it's fantastic. That's what I was referencing earlier. not only is it a good cover, but the worn edges are there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
Chris
that one.
Bachalo.
No.
Oh no, not the variant cover. You mean the
Yeah.
actual cover?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
The variant cover by
Okay.
Chris Bachalo, like weirdly, he didn't do issue 1, but he did 2 through 5, 6, or whatever. So he did every other one. But like, weird art choice to be like, let's just get Chris Bachalo to do these.
Chris Bachalo. Yeah, he's very
Yeah, and because
different
also
from-
his artists, they're all very like sort of Lolita, like kitty.
His art is
looking,
just like a
but-
bizarre choice
Yeah.
to like for this book, I guess. Like if you got his cover and then you open it, you'd be like, oh, that's jarringly different. Which is sort of how issue 5 feels. But anyway, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
All right, Megadeath Part 2. I mean, sorry, Megadeath
3.
Part 3.
Yeah,
So we
my first note is Penelope is clearly evil. Like, what's
no,
wrong
she's
with
fine.
that?
Look at that. That's fine. That's a healthy woman. That's a thriving,
the
healthy
fuck?
woman. Look at that.
Yeah,
She's doing
Philippus
fine.
is not paying attention whatsoever. She's like,
Yeah.
"Are you okay? Okay."
I'm just
gonna
tired.
go."
I'm just tired. The second she leaves, like, that's faster than thunder. And her neck's twisted backwards. I'm like, holy shit.
Look,
just
Themyscira.
take a beat and make sure your friend's okay and not just tired.
Well, look,
Like,
Philippus
what's
is in charge of Themyscira while Diana's out. They're in a war with
Yeah.
the U.S. I think she's just burnt out. You know, she's just checking out of work early. She's burnt
Right.
out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is like.
Attention.
I think they're referring to Tom King's run on Wonder Woman, which is actually pretty good, but different tone completely than this book. So it's kind of weird that they're talking about what's going on in the Wonder Woman book in this book. They all hate Harley's plan.
Speaking of Harley's plan, I just want to call out this shot of just Barda's back. I mean, she is perfection. That woman.
You know, I will say though, like, I know you're drooling on your pages, but this isn't like, which I think a lot of modern comics aren't, thankfully. But like, we've finally, basically, overall, moved away from just like gratuitous tits and ass in comics.
Oh, I'm thankful for this though.
But you know,
I'm
like,
happy we got
but
this.
yeah, but it's not like it's not shoving it in your face. She's just like wearing a bathing suit because they're about to go underwater.
Yeah.
Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like the X-Men are just wearing scantily clad clothing and playing basketball for no reason. You know what I mean? Like there's a
Right,
there's a-
Yeah, and when they're back on the island, Barda sadly is fully clothed again. But yeah, so I think that speaks to.
I love how pissed off Zealot is over the plan of using sharks. She's like, we have 2 fucking ways to fucking teleport. We're fucking going in megalodons. What the fuck, man?
It's an insane plan.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, and we
also
should
Harley's-
say we should say plot wise, the reason they can't teleport is boom tubes or give off energy signatures and they're too loud.
Yeah, they're trying to
So,
sneak onto the island. It's too obvious kind of thing, you know. I get it. That is their way off the island though. That's their plan. It's just like get Sin, get to Barda, boom, tube off. Like that's it. Like we're all gonna split up, but once we find Sin, we're running to Barda, bam, we're gone. So solid
This is
plan.
also
Doesn't turn out that way, but solid plan.
I like
Sorry,
how Harley
Patty, what were you
immediately, she's like, well, just this beat for beat is really funny because Harley's like, why do we have to use subterfuge anyways? And they're like, at the same time, all the other birds are like, Wonder Woman. And she's
Yeah.
like, oh, right. Yeah. Wonder Woman.
Oh,
But then she immediately goes, wait, why are we so worried about the princess? You're telling me this giant bitch. She's about to talk about Barda.
I know it's the
Yeah, and
giant
then she goes
plan.
bisexual icon. Yeah.
Watch it, Quinn.
Watch it. Quinn.
Bisexual
icon.
And then she's like,
I also
she's like, what do you mean? You mean you can't beat her? And she's like, a push maybe on a good day, depending on the weapons, depending on how angry she is. And I'm just like, that's all pretty valid. Like Barda could go toe to toe with her, depending on the situation. You know, like kind of thing. But like, you know,
well, later on, also Wonder Woman kind of compliments Barda because they do throw down. And Wonder Woman wins, and then she's like, "Put a dampener on her. Like, if she wakes up
right away,
you'll have
because
a
if she wakes
problem."
up and I'm not here, yeah.
She says, "If she wakes up before you do that, you will have a problem you cannot solve," which I thought was a very fun way to phrase that.
Right. Okay, but so the Megalodon train works, and they get to Themyscira, and I did like. There's a sweet kind of back and forth where like Black Canary approaches Harley.
Yeah.
Because Harley's been kind of talking, you know, she's doing her Harley thing of like joking nonstop. And so Black Canary approaches Harley and Harley says, I know, I should shut up. But Black Canary just says, no, Harley, thank you. And you can kind of see Harley actually genuinely happy at
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she takes a beat
exchange.
and then it's like, well, sure, no problem, boss. But like genuine solid character growth. Like I know it's a panel or two, but like that to me, like especially
No, I thought it was a touching exchange between
yeah,
them.
I
Because
agree.
also
But
knowing
in
Harley
a
is
team book like this, it's hard to get those moments in, especially when it's like this and the pacing is pretty. I mean, it's not like breakneck or anything. Like the pacing's really good in this story, but like there's action pretty frequently. There's a team dynamic. There's a lot of characters to handle, and when you have like time to like spend, I like that they have time to spend with like little character beats like that. And you know, I don't like you could tell it meant something to Harley that she's like accepted or she did well.
and especially
in her eyes, kind of thing.
you know, given Harley's history with like abusive relationship with Joker and all that, I think it's nice to give her, you know, a and
Right.
the Suicide
Yeah.
Squad, which is like your head will blow off if you don't do this for Amanda Waller. So with all that context, I think it's nice to see her in a more positive team atmosphere. Even though she was sort of conscripted into joining, but anyway, it's good to see her positively.
Well, it's also kind of
Well, go ahead, Pat. But actually, one thing like this panel here, what kind of a wiki feet score are we giving her?
gosh.
You get to see her feet right there.
She's got big.
Listeners, if you don't see
she
it,
can
I'm
fill
sorry.
out a clown shoe if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's
Those are big feet.
She's got some big old toes on those feet. Yeah. Go ahead, Pat. You were going to say something before I talked about Harley's man feet.
Just to the same point of Harley being so appreciative of Dinah saying thank you, because earlier Dinah asks if any of them have a way to get on the island, and Harley says, "I have an idea," and Dinah doesn't trust her, and Harley's like, "I'm either on this team or I'm not." Like,
yeah,
like
that's
you know, there's
point.
just no respect. Yeah. So I think it was a nice callback where like Dinah actually
it was,
showed
yeah,
respect
you're right.
to her, and it was, yeah. I think the writing is I thought really good, really great.
And this is the scene where we see what Zealot got from Diagon Alley.
Yeah,
So
the bloodworm. She becomes a Blade of the Immortal.
Worm. She got a little worm thing that she put into her, and she made a deal with the island. It's actually kind of a pretty cool narrative construction, I think. So she makes the deal where she can neither kill anything on the island nor be killed by anything on the island.
Or anyone. Which we learned right away because she stabs Harley. Very unceremoniously.
And it's pretty cool
like,
because
how sure were you that was going to work? And she's like, as sure you were that we weren't going to get swallowed by a megalodon. And she's like, very fair. But in my brain, I'm like, not so fair, I don't think.
But it's a cool setup because
test
she can
it on yourself then. That's what I would say.
In a fight, she can just basically go 100% and not worry about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a cool cheat code.
That again, as a MacGuffin, that was a fun one to have. Like, so having them like go full on violent on Themyscira, where you know they're fighting basically an army at times. You know, pretty awesome. She's also very good with a sword because she does not fall to almost any of the Amazons. Although they do just randomly come across her later on. She's just like laying on the ground bleeding. So clearly she doesn't win every fight, but like for the most part, she's cutting through some Amazons.
Yeah, well, she's also fighting 300 Amazons at once. So I mean, you know, if it doesn't always go well,
yeah,
you know, that makes sense.
So they sneak around for a bit. Yeah,
and also, so this Megara introduction was a little bit.
How do you? Is it Megara? Megara?
I was pronouncing Megara is how I was reading it.
Megara. Okay.
Yeah. But so this is a weird introduction. So Barda and Smallbat are in the woods fighting Amazons, and out of nowhere, this weird vine creature shows up, and that's the big bad. It's kind of a sudden, out of nowhere introduction to this creature. Is all
it is. It's very sudden.
It's weird,
but it's there on purpose because it's taking away the Mega Rod, which is their boom tube out of there.
Yes.
So it's very purposeful. It does feel like weirdly like ham-fisted.
It is. Like it's just as the reader, it's very sudden and sort of. At first, it didn't click that. Oh, that's the
the escape. Yeah. That once they get Sin, that's their escape out of there. So like that's what's going on. But like at the time, I was like, what the fuck? Why did that just happen? You know, like kind of. And then like Barda's like, we have a problem, Smallbat. The Mega Rod is gone. And I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. Anyway, continuing to fight Amazons, and Canary and Harley Quinn find Sin, and they have a little reunite moment. Nice.
There was a little Easter egg with Harley talking about how the Amazons must be into bondage, and because wasn't the creator of Wonder Woman into bondage and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's where the lasso comes from. Yeah, there's like classically 90% of old Wonder Woman comics are like her tied up and stuff.
Tied up,
and shit.
Yeah. Also, she has the lasso of truth.
Well, that's the point. The lasso comes from that. Like,
another
healthy sexual obsession that man had.
How about this?
Apparently, him and his wife were very into it. It's fine. It was very mutual.
Better than Harley's feet, I would say.
Okay, you're talking about a 16-year-old girl. You're canceled. You fell for it. This was a test.
You tricked me.
You fell for it.
You tricked me.
He walked you right into that trap.
I walked you right.
That's how you catch a predator, Patty.
That is we caught a predator.
Fuck?
I just want to know.
We know better now, Al. We know better now.
From my end, I have no comment on this 16-year-old girl's feet.
Patty, I was gonna see if you guys wanted to come up and hang out.
That's entrapment,
kids, but not anymore. What?
All right, but so Harley and Black Canary do find Sin and break her out, and then we get a cool little, God bless Ollie.
Again, why is she there? I mean, I know we don't really know, but like, what the fuck? She's not really guarded. Like, they had to fight some people to get in there, but like, they're in Harley and Canary, or I keep calling it Canary, Black Canary, whatever. Dinah are in a relatively like unguarded area of like the palace or something, because like they just like walk up to her room and get her out, and like they're like, "Hi, what's going on? Oh, hugs! All right, let's go." Like no one's outside the door guarding it. Like nothing.
Okay,
she's not like a prisoner.
Well, right, because two things. One, she's not really a prisoner. Penelope Megara just manipulated them into getting her to have her.
Oh, that's right.
And B,
Penelope, who was
they're
clearly
also fighting the U.S. military at the same time.
Oh,
so
yeah,
maybe
that's
they don't
right.
have the guards to leave there. But we get a little interlude, a little Ollie interlude.
Oh, yeah.
And,
wait, what were we going to say, Patty?
No, I can save it to the end. I forgot there was a little bit more with Ollie and Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
this is the Ollie, like, what, I guess...
Yeah, bless his heart. He's trying.
Not a plan that's made to win. It's a plan to delay her as long as possible. And it doesn't work very well at all.
It does not work.
Which I think is weird, because I mean, like, well, one, the arrows, this bag of tricks. I mean, Ollie even says, like, fuck, they must have, like, because they even make a comment when they first get it. They're like, you've used this. There's not a lot left in here, or something like that. It's like, oh, whoopsie, and then they get betrayed and they fight yellow juggernauts. But like when Ollie is doing this, he's like, fuck, is there nothing good in here? And he's like kind of going through dumb arrow, and he's like, none of this is fucking useful at all. I mean, he blatantly says that. That being said, still, even with all of that caveat, it's still like, what the fuck, man? This is so pointless. Like having Green Arrow distract her, you might as well just. It's almost cluing her in that something's happening. Like you should have just.
That's what I
it almost
not done anything.
Yeah, it basically expedited the return.
Yeah.
But so the plan is to delay her with this magic dust. It doesn't work. One thing I want to say, I love Wonder Woman in this. She's like King Bradley from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. She's a great train. She is horrifying. And you feel for the BOPs when she gets to Themyscira.
Yeah.
Like I feel
we never call them the
BOPs
again, though?
The BOPs, the birds of prey.
Yeah, I know.
The BOPs.
Just call them birdies like Dinah does.
They're the birdies. No, but I mean, obviously, Diana, it's still Wonder Woman. She's the hero. So I don't mean terrifying in a real sense if she's going to murder anyone like that.
I love how much she's clearly holding back from just crushing Oliver. Like it's so clear.
Right, anyway, but I just mean to say that she's terrifying in the sense of she's just this unstoppable force, and you can feel their reaction of, oh shit, how do we make our plan work with, Diana in the mix? Because she is just a freight train. And she is, so, I mean, by terrifying, I mean terrifying with an asterisk, not actually just going to kill somebody.
No, I mean,
she is the force of nature.
In the image Joe has pulled up right now, that she looks terrifying. Coming through the mountain and all the rubble behind her, and she's just like...
Yeah, she like looks like she bounced off the mountain, but then she just smashes into the ground, and she's just like full for... I love the descriptions... or the narration from Dinah right now. It's like everyone is obviously afraid of Batman, and they should be. Despite everything, everyone is also afraid of Superman, as they should be. Everyone just loves Diana, as they should. But they should also be very, very afraid. I was like, that's fantastic. I know that we've talked about like the descriptions or like how people perceive Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman before in other books, but like this that was like very succinct, and I really like enjoyed how like I enjoyed the perspective of it. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
and again, I don't know why, the imagery of it reminded me of Bradley from Brotherhood. Is just this once he's unleashed and on the
Yeah.
Capitol, it's that kind of watch out.
It's a really great depiction of her as well. I mean, like I know, like the voluminous hair is kind of reminiscent.
Oh, her
of, like,
hair looks
older
her
comic,
hair
like
looks
older 80s
amazing,
80s versions of her, like the John Byrne kind of era.
I mean, she generally looks. I mean, she just looks incredible. Hair, all of it. She looks good. Looks good.
She's spectacular in this book. I mean, again, like
not in fishnets.
Just like Cassandra, such good depiction of highlighting everything that she is in such a great way, and like, but not like over fisting it, like overpowering with it all. Like it's just I don't know, not subtle because it's not. It's right in your face, but like I don't know. It's just not overpowering, I guess. You know what I mean? Like it's really good,
well,
really good description of like how she is and what she can do and like how they should be reacting to her and everything that's involved.
Well, it's also like they've all established that like the Birds of Prey are all pretty badass fighters.
Yeah.
And they all have the same reaction when she shows up. And they're like, oh, fuck. This is like.
And I love how Bardo's just like, oh, that's my job, I guess. Like that's why I'm
but
here,
every one of them,
thing.
Even Zealot. So I just want to talk about, let's go to issue 4, Megadeath Part 4.
My one last comment on issue 3 was that I thought they didn't want to get into the Megalodons. And I thought King Shark's argument was persuasive. He was like, if I let y'all die in these sharks, every superhero on the planet.
You know how many superheroes would come kill me?
I was like, good point.
So
that's
fast.
a good point.
But that is a good point. All right, issue 4. This was my favorite issue of the run. I just thought this was chef's kiss, top flight all around. So Diana arrives with Themyscira. Basically, everybody takes a stand against her. All the BOPs, pull their weight.
All the birds.
I just think everybody has a great moment. I love this issue. They all have great moments. It's good action. It's just top flight superhero comic.
There is one inexplicable, like Barda gets racked, and then there's like a few beats, and they're all kind of trying to fight her, and then Barda's just back up with her helmet back on, like fighting. And it's one beat in the comic where I was like, could have shown her just like standing back up, putting her helmet on or something in the background. Like I don't need a whole lot. Just like it was just a little like, wait, what the fuck? When did Barda get back up?
Well, she's the new god.
That's true. Again, it's understood, but it's inexplicable in terms of what's shown in the book.
I didn't even notice it. It's kind of funny because Diana beats her and the two other Amazons carry her off. And then when she shows up next is when Diana's going after Cass. Yeah. And you can tell the one Amazon's like struggling to keep Barda by the cape and she's punching Diana in the face again. Like she's gotten away. Basically what happened, what Diana said to do, they were unable to do, and Barda woke up before they got the power dampener on her.
Barda goes toe-to-toe with her and just beats the shit out of Wonder Woman.
Well, she does the Batman back,
and she even does the Bane Batman back crack thing. And then she's like, "I'm sorry, Princess," and she's about to punch her again, and Wonder Woman just stops the fist, and then it's just like she lays out Barda so hard that the panels are rippling from it. From like the rest of the it's such a beautifully drawn page. It's like it's really good. Love that
her helmet,
so
Barda's helmet comes flying off to just gets
well. So there's like there's circles moving out from where the punch hit, but then and the panel itself is a circle, but then the panels below it are also like parts of that wave rippling out, which I thought I was just like, this is fucking fantastic.
I like how after that exchange, you see Wonder Woman kind of holding her side and leaning on a tree. Sort of, she has to recover from that too.
Yeah, she's like, I need a minute. Yeah. Well, she did just get the shit kicked out of her. Yeah. But I mean,
also, I don't want to minimize. When Wonder Woman first arrives, Zealot tells everybody, "Get out of here! I'll hold her off." And Wonder Woman pretty immediately brushes her aside. But it's a good, I like that look for Zealot of sort of, let me take a stab at it. Literally, I guess, literally with her, rim shot.
Yeah.
But But I like that. Again, all of these, all the BOPs, just one after the other, hit after
birds.
hit after hit. They all go for it, and I love this. These girls they're here.
Even Cass kind of fucks her up quite a bit.
Cass
It's kind
messes
of.
her
I
up,
mean,
and everybody.
it's adorable. She doesn't do anything. it's a
distraction.
Adorable.
Yeah.
But I just like how all of these, they're not just saying, "Oh, we got to run" or "We got to do whatever." Every one of them steps up to the plate. They're all, they're all hitting home runs. Well, home run is the wrong analogy. They're all hitting base hits here.
Yeah.
For the good of the team. They're all just getting on
they're
base.
all trying to hit.
They're trying, and I appreciate that from our bops, the BOPs.
I really my second favorite part of this issue was when Diana throws the lasso around Barda, and Barda just gets like infuriated by this. She's like, "I only speak the truth," and then she tries to make her kneel, and Barda's like, "I do not kneel."
Yeah,
she was so great.
That was good. There's some really good Barda Supergirl.
Let's get back into second to the Barda Wonder Woman rematch, because again, it's a great Barda moment. But also we get another, because after Wonder Woman brushes Zealot off, she in this page takes on some Themyscirans. And again, it's great sort of classic samurai visuals of she's just cutting through dozens of people, wipes the blood off her blade. It's just kind of classic, samurai flick.
I just love one of them's
battles.
like, I'm not dead, and then she's like, "Be grateful and rest, sister. You will feel better soon," kind of thing, and kicks her in the head. But I like, again, I love the as MacGuffin-y as it was, like I'm gonna make everyone immortal on this island for however long while I'm here fighting, so I can fight with my fullest, level of violence I can do. But like, it's awesome. It's a fun way to get around. Like, we don't want to kill a shitload of Amazons on the island. That's not the goal of this book. Let's find a fun way to have violence and fights without
But I like a point she made, because earlier, I think it's Cass mentioned something about like, wow, you're really impressive. But Zealot makes the point, like, well, when you have nothing to lose, it changes how you fight.
Right.
And so because she can't die or kill,
that's true. Yeah.
The gloves are completely off.
That being said, as reticent as she was to be in this fight or to kill Amazons, now that she doesn't have to hold back, like, she's having a little too much fun. She's having a little fun. I don't know what went down with the Themyscirans and Zealot back in the day, but she's enjoying herself.
I I like her line after this image here on this page. After she beats all these Amazons, she just says, "I hate this mission so much."
Yeah. She still doesn't like what she's doing.
Before we move on, also for those of us on Backwatch, this panel here of Wonder Woman's back.
Oh,
she does some lat pull downs in rows. Look at that.
Is anyone on Backwatch?
I'm on Backwatch. That is a oof.
Okay.
Okay. She looks great. She looks great. All right. Let's move on. More action, more fighting.
I do. So the little Batgirl interruption with Wonder Woman is cute and fun, and I love how long Cassandra holds her own with Wonder Woman, which is amazing. But like, there's just like movement in smoke, and Wonder Woman's like, "There you are," and just like,
oh yeah,
she's like, "I got you now," kind of thing, and she punches Batgirl, and Batgirl goes
breaks a tree
and breaks a tree.
A tree trunk. Look at that.
Which is probably why the rest of the Amazons were like, let's put all these ones in jail and not worry about that one over there, because like she's not ever in the jail cell later. But again, this is also the part where Barda's like inexplicably like back up with her helmet on, and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Okay, I guess Barda's back in the fight.
She just got up. They didn't put the dampener on it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like,
that was it.
Yeah.
Off panel, she got away and she just showed up again.
But I
guess that's the problem. It was off panel. That's why I was just like, why not just like show her get up and be like, fuck this, and put her helmet back on? That would have been enough. Like, and I know it's a comic, and you have
it's just there's so much
and storytelling wise, and like
happening.
like there's a million reasons not to show that. But for me, it was like a mildly jarring disconnect. That's all.
I like the idea that Wonder Woman is holding back, and yet she punches Batwoman through a tree trunk.
Yes.
So I just like that idea that her holding back is still just throwing a human through an oak tree.
She knows who Batgirl is.
I know, but what human would survive breaking through?
Batgirl, Batman.
I don't know. What do they put?
Maybe
in
Barbara. Maybe not with her
suits?
previous spine injury. I do like that they. Side note: I do like that they make Barbara's spine injury like a real thing in the comics now that she's superheroing around again. Like especially Nightwing comic that we read that was like a plot thread. I like how they're not just like she's walking again and everything's fine. Like they're just like, hey, she needs to be careful. She can't just like run around.
They're basically still doing.
They are, but at the
same
time, I like at least like the Nightwing author was like, let's at least reference this and make her not go out on missions like the whole fucking time.
It's still pretty.
I agree.
Magically, whatever.
Doing it.
All right. Now we get a better Barda v Diana showdown with the lasso of truth, which is pretty great. And I get back to the art and color work. I think these 2 pages of their clash is really, I think it's great because again, it really leads into that old timey comic paper color palette look.
Yeah, there's also some like Kirby speckles or whatever you want to call them. Kirby dots, pickledy pots.
Yeah.
Going on when she first gets the lasso.
Also, for those of us on shoulder watch, Diana's shoulders there. I mean, her arms,
her delts are
those
kind
delts,
of crazy.
Wow.
I just like the
you're gonna bring up
interaction.
the down skirt angle.
I don't care about that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you don't.
I could give or take that. All right.
I just like how Bart is like offended that Diana would feel the need to use the lasso to compel her to the truth. Like it pisses Bart off, and then also she kind of makes Bart kneel, and Barda wasn't having that.
Yeah, the strength it must have taken her to resist that is insane, and then also like Barda does not kneel against her will, princess, and then she just goes Barda, and it's like ... ellipses, and you're just like, oh shit, like this is fucking insane. Like I feel like Wonder Woman's even like, damn, kind of thing. Like,
well, I think Wonder Woman came.
But I also love Barda's. Sorry, I'll go ahead.
Well, I just think Wonder Woman came in at like a 70%, and Barda's at 110.
Oh, that's true.
And I think
for
that
sure.
Just kind of slapped Wonder Woman in the face too.
Well, to that point, like,
Barda
which
is not messing around here.
Yeah, which is kind of what I was saying. Like, Barda's reaction is like, "We've come here to save the Amazons have taken sin. Like, we've come here to save her from something called the Megadeath that destroys your whole damn island." Like, she's like, "We're not here to just fuck with you. Like, we're here to save you too, jackass." Kind of thing. And I really like that. Like, I don't know. Wonder Woman, that's the part where Wonder Woman switches from I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of you to like, okay, I'm Wonder Woman, so I'm not an idiot, and I will listen to this now. But also, you guys are going to jail for a minute while I figure this out.
Yeah, I think the lasso use I think is a great character. I mean, I think it was a great choice to use on Barda because given Barda's history and Granny Goodness's orphan farm is whips, chains, restraints, made to kneel, subjugated. So to be attacked, to be roped up and like forced into talking the truth or to kneeling is, I think, particularly, I don't know, maybe triggering is not the right word, but it's like particularly evocative, visceral. I think, to Barda, really like sets her off as this is not how you approach me. Princess.
Again, these 6 issues do such a good job of highlighting each of these individual characters for their own character without beating you over the head with it. And that I think that's like that's one of the ones. I mean, like, it's a phenomenal scene. It took us 4 issues to build to that, but like all of that is in those pages. And if you don't know Barda super well, you're just like, that's a really cool scene. So it can, on the surface, you can just read that and move on. But if you know the character, you know the history, like there's a lot going on in that scene, to your point now. And I just love it. Like that. This book is doing a really good job highlighting character strengths without like browbeating with it.
And after that page, the very next page is, of course, they're all handcuffed and in a prison cell.
Yeah, and then also Penelope is like, what? Clearly evil. Well, what?
Well, I like how Diana goes, like later when Diana just goes to see Penelope, it's just, oh, she's evil. This is bad. Like it's just escalated so far that she's literally just a floating evil mass of evil.
Yeah.
Again, Philippus just asleep at the wheel. Just asleep at the wheel. Like this was all something she could have foreseen or dealt with and just didn't.
She's dealing with
even when they go to her, it's almost like she's under the influence of the Megara or whatever. Because like, and I know she's not, but like the way, I don't know, you brought her here, Philippus. Now you wish to imprison her, and she's like, no, I just meant until we can sort out what's happening here, we should have her secured. And Wonder Woman's like, she's next to me. She is secure. You know, like I'm a Wonder Woman, dude. I'm standing right here. Like, kind of like, what are you talking about? I just like that was a great scene too. Like just her going like, what the fuck's going on, man? Like kind of thing. And then,
well, I also like how they both like have the realization of Penelope. They both say Penelope at the same time. They're like, Is Penelope known as being like a troublemaker on the island? They're like, Penelope. Again,
no, I think
Penelope.
I think they're both just syncing up with the idea that that's the weak link here. Like that's
right.
That's what's been causing this. And they're like, wait a fucking second. Like, you know.
Yeah, it's fucking Penelope. She's the Gretchen Wieners of the Themyscira, sort of that energy. But I do like how they just say, oh, well, let's go talk to Penelope or whatever. And she's just immediately a Cthulhu elder god mass of thread just floating. And it's like, okay, well, I guess we're just right there. We don't, we're not going to waste
I wish just Philippus and Wonder Woman had just been like, we were in the wrong. We were wrong. By the way, Sin, you're free to go. We were wrong. My bad.
Get out of here, kid.
You know, like that. I know they don't really have time for that, but like it's just because immediately Wonder Woman's like, "Well, gotta fight this. Get the fuck out of here," you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, and now we see that scene we alluded to earlier, where most of the bops are behind bars trying to break out, and then you just see that Cass was outside.
I love the initial image of them in the cell because like Canary's in the foreground, so you can't really see behind her, and there's a lot of shadow behind her as well. So you're like, your brain doesn't immediately recognize that Cassandra's not there, which, you know, like just as a reader, they framed it cleverly to like kind of, she could be in the background, but you can't see her. Or if you're not looking for her, you might not notice she's not there kind of thing. And then, and then of course the awesome scene of her just being like, yeah,
here's the keys.
Captured.
Yeah. And here's the keys.
Here's the keys. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. No, it's
just funny how Dinah's like, it's just so dry. Were you ever even in here? No.
Yeah. No. Well, get us out of here already. And then she just holds out keys.
She's just the best. I mean, I know the Bat family's got a lot of Bat people. Cassandra's just the best.
She's so like
she is
so awesome.
A tier. She's just so great. And so they break out in time enough to just see a giant explosion and a giant monster come out of it.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out what they should do, basically, like what their next step should be. And then the explosion happens, and she's like, and Canary's just like, well, there we go, birds, towards the big explosion. And then Harley's like, toward the big explosion. Like, that's it. That's our band of brothers moment kind of thing. And I'm just like, that's fucking great.
But then we finally see Megara confront all of them, and she kind of has this, I don't know, it's kind of like a visored mask. How would you describe that, Pat? She has sort of a plate on the top of her head.
It is, yeah. It's like I don't know.
I would say it's skull-like, but it's not. It's
it's just like a head plate on the top
it's very
of her
smooth
head.
And like just round holes for the eyes and goes.
And then tendrils. Yeah. She's very tendril-y.
Well, all of those threads, Al, are the threads of the peoples that she's.
So I want to talk about that. I don't
know.
That. So,
watched? I don't know.
Let's talk about that. So Megara, we're told, is the Fury.
Yeah.
But the threads is what the Fates do in mythology, not the Furies. So it's weird to me. They basically describe her as if she was one of the three Fates, but she's one of the Furies, which I find weird.
Well, Of
So
all
the
of us on this
Furies-
podcast, Al, you're the one to give us the most information.
I know. I'm like, I don't know.
Illuminate us on that.
Well, the Furies, who are also known as the Erinyes in Greek mythology, are the three. They're basically three spirits of vengeance, pretty much. In
Okay.
Hesiod's theogony, they're born from the nutsack of Uranus.
Ah, yes.
That's not a joke. That is what they are born from. When Kronos cut off Uranus's ball sack and it fell into the sea, Aphrodite was born from the foam, and the Furies were also born from the cut off balls.
Okay.
Megara is one of these three Furies, as well as Alecto and Tisiphone. And Megara is the symbolism or the personification of jealous rage.
Yeah, well,
So that
comes
kind
across.
of makes sense for her because
Yeah.
she's pretty jealous of life and wanting
Yeah.
to live and all that.
Yeah.
But the way she describes that her tendrils are the threads of life and all the billions of lives she's seen makes her sound like a fate. The three fates famously measured out people's lives in threads. And would cut it. And the three fates were, of course, Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos.
Of course, naturally.
Of course.
But so I thought her characterization was a little confusing because she is very angry and vengeful like a Fury, but the whole being jealous of human life and being composed of threads made her seem more like a fate.
Well,
So I don't, so
it's
KT,
funny because
do a little better
she-
next time, KT, on this stuff.
I did like how she's like a immortal entity, but then her dialogue was very like 16-year-old.
Yeah.
It's
that's
very
smart.
Gen Z of the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, but like, well, I mean, again, if you're like, I guess, made from the threads of all the lives, you
Right,
witnessed, like
yeah.
maybe you'd be like more in tune with current life, which is not that weird. But like, also, like, for some reason, with this artwork, it tracks with me. And then the second the other artist comes in, I go,
Oh god.
what the fuck? Like, this doesn't work well. Like, I don't know. It just like mixed with that kind of art style versus like this one, it fell flat for me.
Speaking of new artists, Megadeath issue 5. So, okay, we have a fill-in artist for issue 5, which is a real tonal shift aesthetically.
Yeah.
It's weird to me. So issue 5 there's a lot of action. It's pretty much the climax because issue 6 is more of a denouement of the story, if you
sure.
will. So it's weird to me that this is the issue they bring the fill-in artist for, which is kind
It's
of
very
the big
odd.
action climax of the arc.
It's a weird story
It's-
beat to bring in a different artist. It's a
Right.
weird art choice as well,
Yeah.
editorially, to choose. All right, I have a question for you guys. What's worse, like jarringly different art like this, or art that's so similar but clearly not as good, which is what they usually do? I mean, like, that's kind of a stereotypical thing to do in comics when you're bringing a fill-in artist. You try to bring in somebody that's like kind of similar to the person that's currently drawing the book, so it's like not as jarring to the reader. But to me, that's almost worse because it's like so it's trying so hard to be what the rest of the issues are, and it's just not. Or is it like, or is this worse where it's just like drastically different? Is there some sort of happy medium here? Like where do you guys fall on that? Just in
I
general,
disagree.
not this specifically, but
I mean, I agree. Actually, I don't like the happy medium either. I think a fill-in artist should be a rapid departure. Let's do something different. Let's try something completely different. However, I don't know if this was a good choice of a direction to go in specifically, because it's this weird, it looks like an online Korean free-to-play RPG art or something. It's
what's
anime
weird about it
adjacent
is that
and weird.
it's reminiscent of all the Bakalo variant covers, though, which I thought was interesting.
It is kind of more like
an interesting
Bacalo.
choice. I was like, interesting, because like Chris Bacalo's drawing all these covers, and then one of the issues randomly the art is not like Chris Bacalo, but way closer to his art than the rest of the art.
It's just strange. They all have very angular faces, but super full lips, and it's just
very
a weird
anime-esque.
look.
I don't know.
It's a weird look. So again, I wouldn't pick this.
Patrick, what was your response to that question?
I'm kind of on the opposite page. I prefer it if there's kind of a similarity as far as the story goes. I think when the art changes this dramatically, I would expect that to happen in a brand new story arc when it's like
sure.
the
Or like a
climax
fill-in issue would be like, it's between this arc and the next big arc. Let's have 2 issues this random artist. Like when it's this jarring of a departure, it's usually like issues 7 and 8 are drawn by this guy, and it's just like a 2-issue thing, and then we'll get back to the big story arc again.
Yeah,
and then another
right. It's
on.
usually not issue 5 of 6. The climax of the arc is going to be a filler.
I was like,
That's
when I
flipped,
I was flipping through and I got to this, I went, go. What the fuck? You know, like I was almost taken aback. It was that jarringly different.
Also, just a comment. You know, I don't know. Just main artist of a run, maybe do your fucking job and just draw all the issues. I don't know.
Come on, guy.
Throwing that out there. Maybe just do your job, you know? Maybe draw all 6.
Also, I mean, you know, not for nothing, a lot of female crotch shots in this. There's a lot of
Oh, we got some Captain America page 1.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of Captain America split kicks going on with where you can see like the ass kicks and also the front at the same time.
All right, but let's talk about the issue. I want to get. Oh, also immediately we get like a hentai vine wrap bondage thing here.
Well, that's another thing. Like, no offense. I mean, like, I don't enjoy, aside from the art in general, just like the panel divides are all like drawn vines, and I'm like, I don't really.
Well, that's the backgrounds.
It does make me feel like the vine is all over the place and they're fighting it, and I get the immersive quality of that, but like, I didn't enjoy it. It was just like one little beat that I'm like, I don't like that.
All right, getting into it though, one exchange I want to talk about that I lost it reading this. So we start with a bit of a fight, and then Megara subsumes Sin. She kind of eats her up and takes her into her.
Yeah.
And then we get this kind of like figurative discussion going on inside Megara between Sin and Megara, you know, who's taking over consciousness and what. And Megara just savages Sin's life and basically says, you suck. All you do is sit at home and read. You're a boring human.
You dork.
Why does your life matter? She literally says, like, what are you going to do with your life? Read more? Like, it is. She's
like, holy shit.
And I want to say, as somewhat of an introvert who spends a lot of time alone, I'm a little bit hurt.
Yeah,
by Megara's insinuation that, you know,
not only that, but like, all right, let me ask. I have another existential question about this arc in general, but this issue specifically. Like, is there no one else that fits the bill? Like, why are you so obsessed with this one girl? Like,
well, I think it's because she was trained to be an assassin, so she's cool a little bit. She's a little cool because she was trained to be an assassin.
So the conceit later on in this issue is that Sin like reached out for her, or like somehow like wanted this to happen, kind of thing. And but I'm just like, that. What does that mean? That Sin's suicidal? Like, what are we getting out there? Like, is there not other people that fit this mold?
Well, that's like, Patrick. Does it come into later arcs? Like, is Sin special in some way beyond her ability to reach out to Megara and draw? Like, is that addressed at all, or she's just an angsty teen who cried out to the heavens?
No, I mean. I can't remember them actually addressing it. It's like little Easter eggs, though, because even in this, I think in the 6th issue, Barda makes a comment about something about how Sin is strong among other, or like other. It's like a very subtle. But I don't.
Well,
know
also,
why.
you clearly. I get the impression. I mean, I could be incorrect on this, but I get the impression that Megara like needs somebody on the island. Like, she can't leave the island without having a host there. I'm assuming, because like she went to all the trouble to get Sin there in the first place.
And maybe, I don't know,
like,
again,
is that part of it?
I don't know if Sin was just a prodigy fighter, but they do make the comment that like Megara is a shitty fighter, and that might be why.
Oh yeah, because they do. Yeah, because once she has the Megara zombies all over the place, including Wonder Woman, they're like, I can beat Wonder Woman now. She's not Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but to Joe's earlier point, Megara pretty much outright says, you asked for that, you know, you wished for a more exciting life, more freedom, the power to exert your will on the world, this and that. But there must be something about, because, you know, a lot of people wish for shit every day, you know. our Christian God certainly doesn't
part of it
answer,
has to
so
be
this
that
one-
she's there, right? Like she's on the island. That has to be an
I
aspect
think it's
of it.
more to it though, because
No, but Sin was brought to the island specifically to be bonded.
Yeah.
to
Right,
Megara.
but she had to get her there. She can't just go, "Oh, well, Sin's not working out. I'm going to pick this kid or this other person."
Well,
because,
right, but I
like,
mean, but that's what I mean. There
she needs them
does
to be there.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I mean. There must still be something special about
There's
Sin
something
beyond
else,
just
yeah.
the fact that she wished for
because she was
it.
Megara was inside of Penelope, and then she jumped into Sin, and then when Zealot kills Sin, it doesn't jump out of Zealot's like I think they're like permanently or they're
Well, they're fully molded at that point. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't know.
entwined.
Because both agree. By that point, they both agree. But anyway, I just wanted to make that point that I just loved how Megara just talked complete and full shit
Yeah.
of Sin's life and like, what are you doing with it? Also,
Well,
Sin
let's-
wearing Black Canary branded T-shirts.
that's
Yeah,
also
why
a little
not?
strange, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little okay.
Again, this artist,
Yeah.
not so good. What do you think about Dina immediately losing faith the second
It
Sin
was
is
weird.
captured? And it's weird how long
I-
it goes on, and then like Harley has to slap her, and like I was just like, what the fuck? Like that doesn't feel like Dinah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
Dinah, not Dina.
I think they, I'm sure they were trying to emphasize the emotional effect that it's
Yeah.
having on her losing her sister. But you're right. It's not
Again,
a
maybe it's
Dinah
just
character.
the art, but it fell short
Yeah.
for me. Like I like this big
No, but I
emotional
think-
beat like dropped for me. Like, I was
No,
just
but
like,
I
this
think
seems-
narratively, it's not a Black Canary character beat.
Yeah.
It's contrary to her character to crumble.
Yeah, I
like
feel
that.
like
Yeah.
Black Canary would just nonstop keep fighting until
Yeah.
the bitter end,
It-
no matter
I-
what was going on. And then it's like she just immediately gives up, and it takes Harley to be like, "Hey, listen, the world didn't end, so obviously it's not over yet." And she's like, "Oh, you're right, it's not over yet." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, I don't know.
I think they just
thought that was
needed to
really weird.
give. I think, Harley Quinn is she's kind of what Wolverine was in Marvel in the early 2000s. Harley Quinn's everywhere right now. for
Everywhere,
DC.
yeah.
So I think they just wanted to give Harley a beat of pulling the team together and
Yeah, okay.
snapping the leader back into it and kind of.
But I
think
agree with
that's
Joe that
what was going on.
it's not so much that she felt defeated, it's the fact that it lasted for as long as it did.
It
Like,
felt
it felt like it lasted a long time.
felt
for
like
her
an
to
eternity.
succeed
I know
there.
it was only like
Yeah.
a page or two, but it felt like an eternity. I was just like, "What's happening?" Like everyone's
'cause
still
it-
fighting, and you're just sitting on the ground. Like that's not Black Canary to me.
No,
Like,
I
that's,
agree.
You know,
Yeah.
I just like a very weird. I don't know.
Look, I don't disagree.
Anyway, so they
but
all
I
do
still
a
think
bunch of
it
shit to
was-
get
yeah.
Canary. They blast a hole basically, so Canary can get in there also. So Canary finds Sin inside of Megara. But
And then
you know what's sorry. go ahead.
Also, another point about how Megara talks, she says literally too much.
Yeah.
She says literally like 5 different times.
I literally
in
find
this.
that so
She
annoying.
says literally a lot.
So Wonder Woman pops up again for a second, and then they take care of her. The impetus of this, while Canary and Sin are inside of this creature, is that Canary finds out that Sin like asked for it to happen, and she's like, "You did? What do you mean?" And they're having this like heartfelt moment of like, "I didn't know you were this like despondent, and like what can I do? Like, why don't you just we'll get out of here? You're gonna come stay with me, and everything's gonna be okay." And then Megara, it's so fucking weird. And again, I don't know if it's because it doesn't feel like the writing has changed so much as that it's the art. I don't know like what the mixture of this is, but it feels so weird. But Megara's like, by the way, like, I don't know why you guys think this is like not a done deal, but it is. But also, Canary, I'll need a place to stay if that's cool. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
No,
what
but
is
yeah,
happening?
here's the line going back to that sort of Gen Zer, vocab. But she goes, "I feel like you guys are missing the headline, which is Sin is done, and like I'm the new Sin,
And, like,
or I will
I'm
be
the new
shortly." Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
right.
But I probably will need a place to stay, Canary, if that offer still stands. Like, what the fuck is what the fuck?
Also, what
like
what is Canary? Are those? What are these little pearl balls that she screams into? Are those bombs?
that? I don't know.
Is that?
I
like a
think
weird-
she used him against Wonder Woman earlier, and she
She
said
did,
a little
yeah.
bit of
So
little
they
bit of
amplify her voice, like they're just
No, they're like little balls that she's been throwing at that are also her scream. That's
I
what
think
I got.
Zatanna.
no. She screams at them and shoots them
Is
out.
that
right?
is he triggering, or she's screaming at the same time she's throwing them, and that's like
I think
so
she
it's like
throws them and screams, and they get shot out. Right?
Yeah, I think they're magic. There's a Zatanna gave them to her. She says a little bit of
it's from
Zatanna.
Zatanna. Okay.
Oh, Z. Another was Zatanna ever on the Bops? She was a Bop one.
I'm sure she
back in the
guest
day?
starred a few times. She
I don't
must have.
know. Again, my
Bop in
history
spirit.
my history with the Birds of Prey is minimal at best.
Yeah. Oh, also, sorry, guys. Can we take a break? I'm having a weird, like, my headphones are kind of acting up. Can we take a
What is
break
it?
for a second? Because I keep hearing
Yeah,
this.
sure.
Does this pass the Bechdel test? The Bechdel test. The Bechdel test. Does this pass the Bechdel test?
The answer's
probably
no.
But this does.
But it does. Yeah, of course it does.
This murders the Bechdel test.
It's almost what's also it takes place on Themyscira for the most part. So it's like largely more than normal a female cast. So I mean, like it's almost impossible for this not to pass the Bechdel test. Not only is it a female team, but also they're on an island of only women. So like it's almost impossible.
But the only, we just have a few panels in earlier issues with Grifter, Ollie, and then Nanoe and Constantine. But like this just
it.
Homicides the Bechdel test. Bats it out of the park.
Homicides. Yeah. Well, it's Birds of Prey.
Yeah. So
female cast.
We made it. We finally read a book. We finally read a book that outright passes the Bechdel test.
Not only passes it, just passes it at every other page.
It laps.
that's the key. It's no. We're not trying to find one page of a conversation where it passes. It's the whole book. We have to. It's a reverse Bechdel test. Is there a page where it doesn't pass the Bechdel test? Is the question?
Yeah. Basically, this laps the field. So Kelly Thompson, you don't need to do better. You crushed it.
No, you're doing great.
You passed the Bechdel test.
Actually, Kelly Thompson, you should do better because there's not one single scene where two men talk about something other than the main. Like, can we get some representation, please? Where are all the men? Where are all the men? Like, what's going on?
I mean, even when John Constantine is talking to Barter, Black Canary is there, and they're having a conversation together. It's very frustrating.
Right there.
On the art note of this one issue, I will say I enjoy the Captain America like scale mail of Barda. Although I don't like how she's drawn, I like all the detail put into her armor that the other artist was just drawing fishnets across her entire body, which is fine. Right, yeah. It's just I do like the little plates, and like some of them are reflecting light at different colors, and like it kind of looks like plate mail, which I enjoyed.
Sure. Okay.
That's it. Just a little art note that I'm like, okay, there's something I do like that this person did.
All right.
But other than that, not that much.
Let's move on to Megadeath Part 6. This is the final
so real quick before this ends, there's Black Canary blasts them out of Magira somehow.
Yeah, it didn't. The transition was weird.
So I think what happens is she physically blasts them out of Megara's physical monster
tendrils,
form.
But then the tendrils are really just inside of Sin. But again, that's not.
But she's already melded
shown very well.
Yeah,
and then when issue 6 picks up and Sin and her are just laying on the ground, I was like, wait, what?
It isn't shown well.
So that was a little jarring. Again, art wise.
That's what happened.
And then there's another note here where. Right before that, they're all fighting and shit outside while Black Canary and Sin are inside. And like Zealot's like, Harley, those bombs better be non-lethal. Non-lethal bombs?
I know.
What are you talking about?
No,
also,
I'm sure
Zealot's been stabbing people left and right the whole time. Why is she concerned about non-lethal bombs?
Well,
they're on an island where no one can die right now.
No. People can die, just not to Zealot. Zealot can't kill anybody, but other people can die.
She can't kill anybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Because she stabbed Harley.
Yeah.
She can't kill anybody.
Yes.
They can still kill people.
Right. The deal Zealot made is I can neither.
Oh, so Barda could have murdered somebody at any point.
Yes.
All right. I didn't. All right. So again, I'm going to go back to what my earlier comment is. Non-lethal bombs? What the fuck are you talking about?
Smoke bombs? I don't know.
They
Those don't
exist. I'm
exist.
sure. I'm sure local community police departments are
Stink
stocked
bombs?
on
Oh my
lethal
God.
bombs.
Anyway, non-lethal bombs,
Um,
stupidest line in the entire book. So we got non-lethal bombs. We had Megara weirdly wanting to stay with Black Canary after she takes over her sister's body, which I thought was fucking weird. There's a lot of dialogue
she needs a
and lines in
place
this
to stay.
issue
Joe, do you know
mixed
how
with
much?
the art that don't make any sense. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Did you like phone in this issue and also got a fill-in artist? Like, what's happening? This issue made no sense to me.
Joe, do you know how expensive housing has gotten in the U.S.? I mean, where's Megara
man.
supposed to live? She needs to shack up.
That's
with
true. But can
Canary.
she stay with Black Canary after I kill your sister? The fuck? Anyway, Canary blasts them apart. Issue 6.
So Zealot immediately recognizes that Sin has Megara inside of her.
Yeah, which I liked. I liked the speed with which he was like, "This isn't over," and I know what the fuck's happening.
And I like the plan because, again, Zealot knows she can't kill anybody. So I like the plan they do where she stabs her, of trying to kind of trick Megara into, this person's dead, you better escape the body.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't work. I mean, it didn't work, but I just want to say
It at least seemed to separate them enough to where Sin was like conscious enough to like threaten her own life and like do the lasso thing that's taking place with the rest of this little beat here.
Yeah.
Where did
I don't know if
get
it,
the lasso?
I don't know if it freed her. That I don't know.
Well, she probably got it from.
Oh,
Megara,
right.
who took it
No,
from
Diana gave it to her, didn't she? Diana gave her the lasso way back.
When she told her to run. Yeah, when they first met Megara, and she tells her, she said, "Take the lasso."
Did that actually happen? I missed that completely.
It did. It's kind of like a take the cannoli and run or whatever from Godfather.
Shit!
Just to take
That's
the lasso
awesome.
and run.
It's kind of cool that was threaded in there. Good job, writer. Kelly Thompson.
But it kind of comes out of nowhere in the art. Like all of a sudden it's wrapped.
Yeah, it's just there.
Yeah, she suddenly.
Well, her jacket was kind of closed before that, so I think that's. I guess that kind of makes sense. Like she unzipped her jacket and it was there.
So now their plan. So after Zealot's plan of fake murdering didn't work, they have this magic pot, which is sort of like Pandora's box, kind of. It's just this sealable
Some
pot
sort of
that can
urn,
then never be opened again, whatever this urn. So the plan is to shove Megara in there, but then they run into difficulties because Megara and Sin are connected, and so if you put Megara in, Sin has to go in, and so they end up half closing it, and some of Megara stays out. And in the meantime, Sin and Megara through the lasso of truth, sort of come to an agreement of kind of an internal balance of power of, you can live in me, sure, but I get to be in control.
My only note is I wrote Urn of Suction Go.
That was it. Yeah. It was like a Ghostbuster trap. You know?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and you just got to close it right before.
Yeah. So they do close it, and they eat up most of Megara, but some of it is left back with Sin. But
so
in the meantime,
So, I mean, again, Patty, maybe you can answer this since you read a little further. The combination of Sin and this entity, is some of her gone? Like, does she have like memories, or is like my conclusion by having a lot of her sucked into the urn thing and then closing it before the end, meaning like if this is some omnipotent thing that has like lived all these lives because she's observed all these lives and has all these threads, that maybe a lot of those threads are gone, so her memory's like less full or like spotty. Is that ever talked about or played on later?
No, I think it's
boring.
She's less powerful. Like
okay, so it's just like power level wise. All right.
Yeah. So she became less powerful enough to where Sin could kind of have the upper hand in the balance.
And it's kind of, again, MacGuffin-y in the sense of like, we all need to close the urn together, you know. And it's a little.
I liked.
Corny,
I know it's
I
corny,
liked it.
but I liked. Yeah,
it's a little corny, but I like it too.
I enjoy. It's also the cover of the issue is all of them with their hands, you know, kind of putting their hands together with the urn. I like, you know, come on, they're the bops. They did it.
No, I think it's cool. I liked it. It's just a little corny, but I liked it.
I also, my favorite part of this issue is they do all of this, and Sid now has superpowers and all of that, and immediately Barda's like, all right, boom tube, we're gone.
Yeah.
He just rips them out immediately. And Dinah, I think, is it Dinah who makes the comment?
Yeah.
maybe we should have stayed back and said goodbye or something. And Barda just said, we fought their entire army and like fake murdered all. We should just get out. It's not a good idea to stay and talk.
In my memory, it's best to just leave when you fucked over that many people.
She says,
I find when you have done much damage to both property and warriors, a hasty exit is best.
Hasty exit.
Yeah. Oh, she's great.
There's a little beat where like Zealot's like, please tell me you have something to drink here, Canaria. And Barda's like, finally, we agree on something. And I'm like, were they disagreeing a lot? I don't feel like they were. It was just a little beat that I was like, oh, okay.
Maybe Barda thought they should kill some Amazons. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Maybe she was like, oh, I don't fucking care if we kill Amazons.
We also get Babs. Batgirl shows up just being butthurt that she wasn't invited to the party.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that goes deeper into... Well, yeah, you're starting a Birds of Prey team and you don't ask Barbara. She's going to be like, what the fuck? Yeah. I do, really quick before they leave, I love Wonder Woman saying, like, so Wonder Woman does the little test with Sin and is like, let me lasso truth you real quick and make sure you're not just going to go out and destroy the world. And she goes, I don't want to destroy the world. We want to live within it. And Wonder Woman has this awesome line of just like, if that changes, I will come for you. Is that understood? Kind of thing. And I was just like, fuck yes, dude. Wonder Woman's so fucking cool. So well written in this.
No, she's great. Yeah, she's great.
There's also the little back to Gotham. Right after the Wonder Woman thing, Sin hands the Mega Rod back to Barda, and Barda says, "Oh yeah, I thank you, Sin. It's impressive the ease with which you handle the Mega Rod." And then Canary's internal monologue is, "I didn't love that look from Barda. Gonna have to ask her about that." Like, kind of implying there's a little bit more going on with Mega Rod than,
or maybe Sin's wildly more powerful than,
that too.
They're letting on, kind of thing right now. Yeah, Barbara being upset is interesting. I mean, it makes complete sense. Don't get me wrong, but like, what's jarring to me is that Canary didn't know why until that moment, which I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing for a girl from the future to come and be like, Barbara dies on every mission we do. I've done this 11 times. But to tell her after the fact is like,
it is.
I'm mind blown that Canary would just like, again, a little out of her character to just like blindly trust this chick to be like, okay, I won't ask Barbara to come because you asked me not to. Because the entire impetus in the beginning is her kind of going like, we can't bring Barbara. I can't explain it to you right now, but we can't bring Barbara. But it's alluding to the fact that she knows, but really she didn't know the entire time.
She didn't know. It is a little bit strange. Yeah, it is a little bit strange, but I understand that the author maybe wanted to do a little surprise, keep that a secret from the audience.
Sure.
Anyway,
keep it a secret from the audience. But the fact that that Black Canary didn't know is a little like, what?
No, right. But I think that was just the easiest way to spring that on us.
It makes it, well, in terms of setup for the next X amount of story arcs, this is a good set. Like, this is why I didn't tell you she dies every time. And then she's like, well, how many times have we done this? And she goes, 11.
Oh, is 11 like, really?
Okay.
But I mean, is 11 a large sample size when you're talking about multiverse?
Well, when Barbara dies every single time, her only...
It's 11.
It's not like they're not trying again. They're just trying without Barbara. That's it.
I know, but I mean, if you flip a coin 11 times, you'll get all of the same face in like within minutes, right? So I mean,
I don't know, if I've tried something 10 times with both of you, and every single time Patrick dies, on the 10th time I might be like, I'm going to try it without Patrick.
Sample.
Like, it's not. That's all. That it's not.
Do you know how many different time streams? If there's an infinite time streams and realities, to try something 11 times is not representative.
I think the point though is that there's someone else messing with the time stream, and they're trying.
And she knows that.
Barbara. And
so she also says, every time I'm not here with you guys, I'm back in the future and I'm trying to figure this out. And there's somebody fucking with you.
Right. And that was actually,
and they're clearly trying to kill Barbara and also maybe you guys, kind of thing. And that's like, again, it's setting up the next story arcs or whatever, which I actually kind of liked. was a fun setup for the next.
Well, I'm glad you
arcs.
brought that up, Patrick, because that line she has of sort of somebody else is messing with the time stream is exactly what made me decide to never read another issue of this comic. Because I don't like time travel shit, and this idea that there's an evil time traveler and that just turned me off of any.
Someone
future.
from the future is trying to kill Barbara, and probably you guys. Al signs off.
I'm
That
done.
was in my
As
notes.
soon as I read that, I'm out of the rest of this. But these were great. Yeah.
So Cassandra was watching that entire exchange, and then she jumps down. And she's like, "Sorry, I wasn't meaning to eavesdrop. I'm just, a badass kind of thing." And she's like, "Yeah, I know. It's fine." And she's like, "Well, I'm going to stay with you until this is over." And but Black
Why do
Canary's
they need a
basically
new
like,
team?
Thank you. That's my.
Why do they need a new team?
That's
though?
my question. She goes, "We're gonna need a new team," and my first thought was like, "Your team is perfect. What are you talking about?" I just read 6 issues of the most amazing Birds of Prey team ever.
I mean, their
You don't
team
need a new
just.
team. What's
their
wrong with the team
just,
you have?
Yeah, their team just crushed it. What if anybody's performance would make you think we need a different team?
Well,
next
in
time?
terms of like the next mission is going to be different, so we'll put together a different team of people to combat that. I get that, and I love it, and I also like a rotating team because that makes it more fun as a reader. But at the same time, I was like, I really enjoyed this team. I hope it keeps the same. Does the team change out, Patty?
Yeah, they swap. I'm pretty sure they swap Zealot for Barbara, and they swap Harley Quinn for Vixen.
Okay.
Harley for who?
Vixen.
Oh, okay.
But it gets like
Vixen and Barbara were on her list and crossed out vigorously.
The other big storyline is like a pocket universe, and there's these 7 septuplet girls that all had superpowers, and one of them turned evil and killed the other.
The
5.
Cuckoos.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it gets a little.
Cuckoos?
It gets a little bit. It's a lot of like multiverse type vibe, like Rick and Morty.
Yep.
I mean,
like,
again, when you start doing the future shit, that's where it's gonna go.
That's the beginning. Yeah. All right, but that's the end. We did it. The 6 issues. Birds of Prey, Volume 1.
Yeah, that's it.
Megadeath.
And we did that.
We made it.
You guys have any last thoughts before we do recommendations?
No, well, I'll just.
All right, recommendations.
Recommendation. No, I recommend it. I feel like lately all I ever say is, if somebody was starting with comics from nowhere, I'd never recommend it and that kind of stuff. I would recommend this to like anybody who just said, "Hey, what's a good recent comic?" Read this. It's so much fun. It's a good heist story. The characters are great. Solid art, especially if you haven't been just
especially issue
immersed
5
in Aha and Chang and Tom Riley and all that kind of recently. So honestly, I can nitpick here and there, but it's really like a no notes experience. It's just a fun superhero comic, good mainline superhero comic. So I recommend it. I thought it was a ton of fun.
I also recommend it for all the same reasons. It's fun art, great story. I love every character. Their interactions are all great. The team rapport is fantastic. They did a great job. And yeah, I think it could be someone who'd never read a comic book before could pick this up and more or less know what was going on and what the deal is. But yeah, really
I don't know why we put the caveat, have they ever read a comic before?
I don't know. I think it's because like
that's insane.
It's
well, I would change 90% of my answers if it was they've never read a comic before.
Well, because I mean, I think
if you read comics and you're like if it's you guys, I'd be like, yeah, read this. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But some things require a little more background.
That's
and other
true.
Things are, I don't know, maybe someone in the office sees you reading a comic and says, "Hey, what are you reading?" That kind of thing is you'd say, "Oh, sure, read this."
That's a very different line. I feel. I don't know if I would recommend it on that.
Okay,
I
whatever.
would definitely recommend it to somebody that reads comics.
Okay, that discussion. Let's put it in the Gem and the Holograms.
You can have never read a Birds of Prey comic before, and I would be like, "Fucking read this, you'll love it." I recommend it. I had a lot of fun. Issue 5 was jarringly different from the rest of the 6 issues, but
very true.
And even with that, I would say still good. And loved the art, loved the writing. look, I said it earlier. The writing is super clever and interesting, but it doesn't jam itself down your throat. It's very like surface level clever and doesn't really like, I don't know, take you out of it kind of thing. And the art's really good, man. It's really solid. Just even that one page of Wonder Woman punching Barda was like, bravo.
Yeah,
Loved it. Yeah, I really enjoyed the art, really enjoyed the characters. I mean, I know a lot of these characters very well. So like, for me, I was like, oh, my old friends, so like, but I would still recommend it for everybody that doesn't really know these characters, because it does a really good job of highlighting each of the individual characters without really making any one of them seem like the main character. Like it's a true team ensemble. Really liked it. Yeah, loved it. Recommend. 3 recommends from us.
3 recommends.
That's
Birds of Prey, Megadeath. We did it.
Dawn of DC. We did it.
Yeah.
Good journey, Couchers, everyone.
Good.
Be safe.
Bye.